that should work right there. How to put this here. Yo, not a sponsor. We're still trying to get this camera set up. So, bear with me a minute. I thought I had it, and then I started walking away, and then I bumped it. So, there. That should work, right? Below Average Utah Dad. I'm driving the car, so I can't watch and listen. You're fine, man. We'll take what we can get from you. Not doing anything fancy or nothing. We're just doing the gun table and the sign. We loaded some ammunition a little bit ago. My son's working on the laptop to get a stream pulled up on there so I can read the stuff off the laptop versus reading it off the phone. Is the audio coming through okay? There, it actually looks alright like that. Audio's good.
So how many more hours we have to get?
That doesn't count Saturday or Sunday?
That's with everything.
Oh.
Except for the just on videos. That's cool. Everything from lives.
We'll keep plugging away.
And here from Friday, we're still a little over. You can see at least what's saying on the computer for Fridays.
Yeah, that's not what my phone said though.
Yeah.
So
I'm basing it off of what the computer.
That's fine. Well, it's fine, Gage.
Yeah.
Put it up here.
You can see the negative for up there. That's what we got since Friday. So 78.3.
We'll figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Watch while you're packing slides. That John Wicks, I think you may not have seen that. It's a Gerson MC Deluxe. My son put the table together today, so looks like he grabbed GP100, Ruger Mark 1, Shadow Systems, Gen 3 Glock 17, put his Palmetto Dagger up there, DWX, the Gerson, the Black Mamba, the Checkmate, and then the North American Arms. So yeah, Stifler, I appreciate it, man. Nothing else, you're helping them watch hours. So I appreciate that. Dude, we're so close, I can taste it, man. I think if I did all this YouTube stuff for a third time, I would probably focus more on watch hours. Like, I focused real heavily on shorts, doing stupid shorts in order to get subscribers to the channel. And obviously subscribers don't mean views. So that probably, I don't know if that was the best route.
Oh yeah, subscribers who stick around. That help the lives.
I'm not sure how to say your name, sir, so I'm just going to say Mr. Kumar. How are you doing? Time you got to be to work?
4:30, Mom will take me. I'm going to go get ready.
Pull up on a sponsor's channel, and I want to see his video he put up.
Okay.
And then you can turn on device up there, Harley's or something.
Yeah, I couldn't find a remote.
Jay McCauley, I have no idea what you're trying to say, man. I'm not even sure if that's English. Oh, please tell. I'm curious what he has to say. Is it a good interaction or a bad interaction? Is it the dude who said he was offended? Pick up that cap too, please. What's up, Leroy? Come here, Leroy.
He said short.
Yeah, he said he had a short.
I guess this must be known.
Okay. It does look like an interesting way to edit, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
It is.
No, we don't have any Desert Eagles up there today. I'm not sure which one you think's a Desert Eagle.
I thought about putting it up there, but the rifles really lost a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they care if you handle slides. I even saw a guy I was chatting with the other day. He's a gunsmith, and he was working on a shotgun, and the butt stock was off, and the foregrip was off. So you could see it was a barrel, you could see a receiver, and he ran the live without any problems. No, the gold gun's a Gerson. It's a Beretta clone. What? What? Come over here. In the food bar? No.
Oh, hold on.
Oh. That's how shit gets knocked down. Go let him outside, please.
Yeah, this is on top of the screen. Not say the background for the home pictures and stuff.
You had to download this?
Yeah.
We'll download that in a little bit. Yeah, that would be my guess is, Daz, I think you ask about a combat master all the time. No combat masters. Subscribe to the channel, donate to Super Chat. Super thanks, and maybe we'll get a combat master. But if I'm the one paying for it, it's going to be a significant amount of time. I'm poor. I'm a poor person.
It's a lot more complicated than what you use right now.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll put something together.
But yeah, there's a lot more you can do with it. Hence the reason it's more complicated.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean by a snipe either. The two long guns is an A3 with a launcher on it, and then the Woodstock's an M1A Scout Squad. Yes, John, you are. What time are you done with work?
6:30.
Okay. You have school tomorrow?
Yeah.
Shitty.
I don't have work Thursday or Friday.
No?
No.
Well, we'll do it live tomorrow then too.
I have school the next 2 days, but I don't work or anything else.
I don't know which one you're talking about, Jesse. There's some 9mm up there. There's a 9mm Major. There's a 22 and a 357. Actually, there's three rimfires up there. 3 rimfires. Guys, don't be afraid to double tap that screen for some likes. The right column where you get the 100 and the heart faces and the smiley faces, them don't actually count for likes. You gotta double tap that screen. K98, huh? I don't have a Mauser anymore. So the closest thing I could come to would either be an infield or a Mosin. The 1903 Springfields they're bad to the bone. That's definitely one that for years I've wanted it. It's kind of funny because they couldn't get Mauser to license the manufacturing rights, so they just went ahead and manufactured the Springfield 03. Changed a couple things, but it's pretty much the core rifle. But I mean, historically speaking, that's probably one of the best bolt action rifles. The Mauser action, you know, it's hard to say anything's better than that because it's still proven, but I like the Springfield 03 a little better. I carry a Glock 26 for a normal CCW. It must be cold outside. Your ears are cold. Ooh, so boy. John, what do you carry for an EDC? Stifler too. I'm curious. Stifler. You're in the manufacturing industry. What do you pick for an everyday carry? Yeah, the Springfield 03s. I think it's because of how they were rifled. You know, they had the button rifle and they, you know, that pull through broach. Definitely, I think, better job rifling. Why do I carry a Glock? I've carried a Glock 26 for 25 years. I shot them professionally for years, and I've never switched from that from a carry gun. It works. It's not a super expensive gun, so if it works, why change it? Walther PDP full size with DPM rod. I'm not a big fan of carrying full size guns all the time. My Glock 26 is very, very easy to conceal. A G48 stipple ported with a direct mount 507. There you go. Used to carry the LC9S for a while. What do you carry? Wait, I missed that. I didn't see it. 19, SR9, 357, whichever. Alright. Yeah, I missed that comment. I just scroll up. I was tying my boot. No, there's no Car 98s up there. Yeah, I mean, there's things to be said about carrying a full size, but for me, I just prefer not to. Allison 407 C17 OEM May threaded barrel, 2.5 pound drop trigger. How'd you get that trigger to 2.5 pounds below average Utah? I'm just curious because I don't know which one's in the back. There's a M1A up there for a full size, and there's an A3 with a launcher. Yeah, I can agree with that. When we go camping or any of that stuff, I'll carry a full size gun, but it's outside waistband. I'm not trying to conceal it. Whose trigger is it? Or what components? The lightest I've made a Glock trigger has been just a smidge under 3 pounds, and that was with changing the spring in it. Um, I recut the striker, took a little material off of it, and I have a retention holster. Yeah. Delta Tactical. I'll have to check it out. I'm curious. Was it a whole drop-in trigger? I was gonna say that, but yeah, below average. Yeah, Utah. Uh, Stifler sells their slides on the Delta Team Tactical. If you've never checked out any of their slides, you should check them out. They're pretty badass. Yeah, man, they're the coolest airsofts out there, aren't they? Super badass. Every one of these is a prototype, non-issued airsoft model. If I could just get them to quit firing live ammunition, would be great. Every time we go play airsoft with them, you know, cops get involved, ambulances and fire trucks show up. There's always some kind of investigation. I'm not into butt sex, so I have no interest in switches. I know some people, I mean, they're really into that type of stuff, so that's cool. I don't consider, you know, YouTube to be a dating site. Dave Miller, how are you doing? I don't know how to say that dude's name, whatever that is, but yeah, they're all real, man. Yeah. I guess the question I would have to ask for that would be like worth of modifications or just cost wise. Right. Curtis, how are you doing? Modifications. Probably one of my ARs. I built a lot of ARs for 3-gun, so you start adding them up: stocks, forearms, triggers, barrels, you know, that type of stuff. Probably straight up cost to an AR or an AR would be probably the highest. Most of my pistols, if they got modified, it was sights and trigger work. Orange Smoke, right on. Tell Mrs. Orange Smoke I said hi. Hope her day went good. Well, I mean, Orange Smoke, I feel for you. Good luck. Maybe you should have bought it yesterday, and you could have said it was April Fool's if she got too mad. Well, don't do it. I think we're going to go ahead and notify the law enforcement about your site. Hey, Gage, come here. Go ahead and click on here, notify law enforcement. Because the dude on here is saying he's going to be killing himself, so we are absolutely obligated to notify law enforcement. I don't think I'm mumbling. Right on. They can pull the IT address and go right to the dude's house and go find out why he's threatening harm. Yeah, that's what I figured. Right, Dave? I don't have to, man. Your information was already sent, so they should be getting in touch with you shortly. So, huh? Keep telling yourself whatever you want, but I can tell you for sure I reported it. I tell you for sure that other people reported it. I don't know what your name is, but they ain't real. Tell you what, go to the channel and you can prove that they're not real. You know, I'm not even going to boot you out of here even though you're being a tool, just so that they have time to check your IP address. Dave Miller, I don't want to do the same for you, man. So if you want the same shit, then I'll absolutely report that too. Tell you what, why don't we just report you because you want to be stupid? So suicide or self-injury, yep, that would cover it. There you go. Report. I don't care. I mean, at the very least, they're going to take and they'll flag their account, right? So, Mr. Dan Peacefield, huh? So let's see who we got here. Yeah, Dave, you're right. I'm the tool, right, man? But I'm not the one saying stupid shit. Have I not been respectful to you? It's not my fault you got nobody to play with. I don't know what anybody's talking to you about a Fortnite win. Who's playing Fortnite on here? You're playing Fortnite? Well, you're special. Let me guess, you're one of the little gamer kids that need special attention. That's all right, Dave. We'll go ahead and report you for self-harm, and then we'll go ahead and block you from the channel. You can go back home and play some more Fortnite. Yep, unlike my ruined country. So everybody, let's tell our little Dave the Troll to Mr. Dave the Troll. We're not even going to give you a little like timeout. We're just going to boot you from the channel altogether. So goodbye, little troll buddy. Oh, we'll see you later, Davey. And find them here and a few channels that interact here after you shoot competition and such. We do slides. Yeah, man. There's so many. Dude, I'm blessed. There's so many guys on here that are jumping on here, that are doing content.
Well, sophomores are also there for board exam.
And, you know, we have you Stifler, manufacturer. We have, you know, we got some IT people on here. We got a pretty good group going. No, I don't know how to pronounce it. Atula. No, they're not airsoft. They're real. Yep. Rest in peace, Davey. Go back to Minecraft. Well, I can tell you right now, Dave did deserve that because he was on here acting like a tool, talking about self-harm. And if you feel that strongly, we can go ahead and boot you too. So, I'll tell you what, why don't we just go ahead and boot you too, since it's probably your channel, right? So we won't even put you on a timeout. We'll just say, see you later, tripod, whatever your name is. Yep, he's gone. Todd Wilson, see you, tripod, yeah. See you later, guys. I actually had somebody ask me earlier that when I boot people, to not go ahead and talk shit about them. So I'm gonna try to be the better person. But I'll be honest, I really love getting the last word in with trolls. And I mean, I have no problem people playing video games. It's fun, right? There's some really cool games out there. But I do have a problem with, and I say the term gamer kids. And what I mean by a gamer kid is the kid who's at home playing video games 24/7, that probably has no human interaction other outside than going to school, and he probably gets picked on at school because he's a turd. And he's also the same one that when he gets picked on at school, he goes and tells people, they're picking on me, while he's sitting there playing the game. But, you know, that's whatever. I don't mind young people coming on and want to talk about guns. There's great opportunities for them to learn a lot of information. But if they want to be tools, they can go on down the road, you know. I wouldn't let my own kids sit here and be disrespectful of somebody. If I walked in the room and my kid was typing on a computer and I saw some of the stuff that these kids say, I'd slap him in his fucking mouth. I mean, that's all. Just to start the conversation. Can you shoot something? Yeah, we shoot all kinds of stuff on the channel, man. You'll have to go there and look. On lives, I mean, what do you want me to do? Shoot my TV? Yeah, let's learn some gun stuff. What would you guys like to know? Well, no, because if I were going to shoot something, you'd want to see it on film, right? So I couldn't shoot my phone that I'm using. I'd have to shoot something else like the TV. Or the dog. I mean, I have 3. I could afford to get rid of 1. I agree. Sometimes a good ass whooping does people right. I got my ass beat when I was a kid. Look at me, I'm perfectly fine. The safety on a Glock is in the trigger. It's also in the slide. It has a drop safety. I don't know how to say your name, but you're asking M14 or M16A1. There's what would be an M16A2. It's a AR-15A3. So it's, or it would actually be an M16A3, sorry. But there's an M1A on the table, so there's both of them, I guess.
There's no one to eat these cookies, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat your cookies if I want to, and you'll like it.
They're not mine, they're Jeff's.
Oh, particularly don't like people who.
Sorry, I lost out $40.
Well, look, we got us another gamer kid.
But I'm not gonna give you extra money because that's why I didn't want to bring it in.
And not a sponsor, did you report him for self-harm too? So I made sure I reported that channel for self-harm again.
Go down. 4. Go. Go down. Go.
I have no idea. It's a bunch of little kids that think they're being funny.
Go down.
Little attention seekers. It's all right because we report it to YouTube. I report it as self-harm, and when things are reported as self-harm, they notify law enforcement. So even if they're not in the United States, wherever they are, they will get a phone call because it's self-harm. They're obligated to investigate. Well, why not? It kind of sets the mood right off the bat. I'm not going to be somebody's... I'm not going to sugarcoat things because I might hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not going to sidestep if somebody's being a douchebag. I'm just going to say they're being a little bitch, right? So I would rather say I'm an asshole off the start and have that clearly understood. If somebody wants to troll and they hear things that they don't want to hear, well, they were warned, right? Fair warning. It's disclosure. Why would I get your address? I appreciate John Wicks. Like I was saying earlier, we got good things coming to the channel. So we focused hard. Refresh my memory who Stephen Paddock is. I know the name, but I can't picture what he did. I know it was murder. I just don't remember the circumstances. I don't know what Verilaxify means. From the hotel window, what does that mean? Every other person over here carries M16 when walking down the street. What's a good first bolt action rifle that's overpriced? Maybe look at one of the Mossbergs, a Savage. I like Savage rifles. Remington, Tikka. There would be a few that I would look at that are all okay. It's the barrel you want to buy. You want to get something with a good barrel that's accurate. Oh, at the festival. I don't know if he did it or not, right? There's a whole lot there that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to say he wasn't involved or participated, but did he do it alone is maybe the question. No, I don't think he did it alone. I don't know, give me a second, I'll look. Okay, you got an eyeball. What else we got? Iron Fisherman. I don't see anything else on there, so you got an eyeball. I mean, is that supposed to be horrifying and graphic or what? It's not the worst thing I've seen. Probably not the worst thing I saw today. Yeah, a lot of firearms. It's amazing how a lot of firearms will gain value. It's also interesting how you can judge what an economy is doing by firearm prices. When the economy is slow, weak, and sluggish, firearm prices drop because people aren't buying them. Yeah, nobody threatened to shoot any dogs. So feel free to whatever you want. No, some tool said shoot something. I'm like, what? My TV, my dog? Come on, don't be retarded. No, it's not violent behavior. And if you're not mature enough or responsible enough to handle sarcasm or a joke, then you should definitely get on down the fucking road. So John Wicks, Stifler Manufacturing is a manufacturer. Go to his website, check him out. He could definitely help you out with that replaced slide. John, now I realize who you are. I think we've talked about your Glock slide, have we not? Yeah, man, this is what to expect. This is that gamer kid time. It's funny, somebody says you should shoot something. I'm like, what should I shoot? My TV? No, something else. Like, what? My dog? And you're taking that as I'm making violent threats? Get on down the road. That's pathetic. Best part is it's probably the same channels that have been booted out multiple times. There's moving something. Is that what you're wanting? You think it's fake? Yeah, they will. I just did. I stuck my hand in front of the camera. What more do you want? And no offense, why am I concerned with proving anything to anybody? If you think this is fake, go to the channel, watch the channel, right? My channel, my content is not here for kids. Feel free to call the police. Sure seems like, man, what an interesting crowd today. Yeah, they understand, you know. You know what's even better that they don't understand is when somebody files a complaint, I can pull that up. I can tell you who complained. I can tell you all about the complaint. They give me the IP address. They give me the user's name. They all say it's a picture. They all say they're fake. They all say they're airsoft. You know, I don't care, man. It's kind of funny when you think about it, right? You have, what do we got up there? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 grand worth of guns. Actually, a little over 10 grand worth of firearms. And they don't know a real firearm from the not. And if you look behind the sign, there's a fucking Barrett M82. That was 11 grand, almost 12. Or no, it was 11 grand. It was, well, I think it was 11 grand. Already fried. Or maybe it was 12. The tax, shipping, insurance, all that, I think it came, it was like 11,900 and something, 95 or some crap like that. My wife for here should be able to say the exact amount because she definitely knows what it cost. Are you able to sell to Puerto Rico? Yeah, they go up and down. So I bought mine a few years ago, and there was nothing on the civilian market. I bought it in auction. I think after the fees, the shipping, the insurance, the transfer, it was like 11,900 something. It was just short of 12 grand. I could have bought the M107, and that was, I think it was 13 or 14 grand. I don't remember. But it didn't have an optic. Mine is the deployment, so it's got the Leupold Mark IV optic in it. There you go. Now the dog's in the frame. I guess it's just a picture, right? Northern Marina Islands. What's up, Mo? That's not that much. It's definitely not the most expensive table we've shown. If you guys haven't, double tap that screen for me. Throw some likes up on this. If you haven't, consider subscribing. Yeah, she's an American Bulldog. I got 3 of them. That's the mama. The all white one I have is their puppy. Ammo Alchemist. Well. Hey, Ammo, I got reported for violent, threatening, and abusive content. And I had about 4 or 5 different people that got reported for threats of suicide. So that's nice. Somebody came on, they're like, hey man, shoot something with them. I'm like, what am I supposed to shoot? My TV? They're like, no, something else. Shoot your phone. I'm like, I'm not shooting my phone. What do you want me to shoot, my dog? And they're like, yeah. And Then somebody else went and reported it. Yeah, I remember we talked about that, not a sponsor. American Bulldogs are good dogs. They're very territorial and protective. It's maybe not, for a lot of owners, it probably wouldn't be the right dog for them. Very serious breed. Yeah, well, it's the time of day. I mean, it's, what, 4:30? So all these kids are getting home from school. Their two moms or two dads aren't home yet to make sure they're not looking at gay porn. No problem, Emil. Yeah, I'm gonna go tell my two dads on you. No, you have to be an American citizen to buy a firearm in the United States. Well, let me rephrase that. If you want to buy a firearm from a licensed seller, you have to be a U.S. citizen. Now, there's nothing against a non-U.S. citizen privately purchasing a firearm from somebody. Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. Yeah, we talked about that last time. An M1A or an M1 Grand? Or an M1 Carbine or an M1 Thompson. You can't just say M1, because what people don't realize is there's a whole shitload of firearms called M1s in the military. M1 Grand. I think you're not missing anything for snow, man. I'm telling you what, there's nothing cool about it. The thrill of snow wears off about 3 minutes into it. The only thing snow's cool for, in my opinion, is if you have a rear-wheel drive car. Then it's all kinds of fun to drive in. Or truck, rear-wheel drive truck. If you're just traveling the United States, there's no reason to purchase a firearm. If you want to shoot a firearm, any of these indoor ranges rent firearms for somebody to go in and try. That would be what I would recommend. And that's completely illegal for a non-citizen. But other than purchasing, I don't think I'm going to discuss too much of purchasing firearms. That's a good way for me to get in trouble. So I answered his question kind of nicely, and he wants to keep asking it. He can go down the road too. I figured I wasn't missing much. Couldn't be much worse than Florida heat, even though I'm used to it. Yeah, I think Florida's humid. Wisconsin's a very humid state too. I think Florida's worse, but midsummer in Wisconsin is not a very fun place to be. So you get a couple months in the spring that are really nice. You get a couple months in the fall that are really nice. The rest of the time it's either too cold to be outside or it's too hot to be outside. I'll take the hot over the cold, but it's still miserable. Yeah, I don't know anybody that would do it, but especially where it looked like it was something Middle Eastern. I know a bunch of people that would be like, yeah, show on up, here's the address. And I mean, they'd be driving and they'd end up out in the country somewhere. So Wisconsin's a very free state. They issue a permit for concealed carry. It's like a $45 permit. There's classes you have to take, but it's nothing hard. It's just simple class. They recognize the NFA, so you can have short barrel shotguns, short barrel rifles. You can own suppressors, and you can own machine guns. There's no state restriction on them. They just follow the federal law. There's no purchasing, licensing required. There's no firearm registration. There's no wait-in period. So you go into a store, you want to buy a handgun, shotgun, rifle, pistol, whatever it is. You fill out your paperwork. As soon as you're approved on your paperwork, you're out the door. So I would say, as far as gun rights, Wisconsin's probably one of the more lenient states. You can do anything you want. There's no restrictions. There's no magazine restrictions. There's none of that stuff. There's no limit to how many handguns, firearms, shotguns you can own. There's no, a 30-day limit or any of that. It's, you want to go and buy 100 guns today and you want to go buy 100 guns tomorrow, you can. Now you're gonna flag some ATF paperwork. You cannot carry concealed in the state of Wisconsin. You can open carry in the state of Wisconsin without a license. But if you want to conceal carry a electronic device, pepper spray, mace, or an automatic knife, you have to have a concealed carry permit. But again, it's only $45. For me, when I got my concealed carry permit, there was a few things they accepted. They accepted DD 214, which is your military paperwork. They accepted Wisconsin hunter's education, and then there was a few classes, if they were pistol related, they'd accept. Now they have an actual set curriculum, so it's this type of class, and then there's licensed instructors, but it's still, you're in and out in a few hours. And I don't remember if it's a 4 or 5 year permit. I think it's a 5-year permit. The only, some states even have where you get licensed for a gun, right? You have to go and qualify with that gun and pass a certain standards course. Wisconsin, it doesn't matter what you carry. You can carry 10 different handguns on you if you want. You can walk, like in Florida, if you're going to fishing or something, you can walk down the street with a rifle. You can do that in Wisconsin too. Now, if you're walking down the street with a rifle, law enforcement's going to definitely come talk to you, but they have no reason to arrest you. You're not breaking any laws. I agree. Absolutely, John. I won't say I'm an absolutist, if I can get the word out. I do believe some regulations and requirements are acceptable just because there's people out there that shouldn't own firearms. I'm not opposed to, hey, if you want to have a concealed carry permit, you want to carry that gun in general public where your mishandling could definitely impact somebody. I'm not opposed or naive enough to think that there's a lot of people that should receive some kind of training on how to do so safely. If not for themselves, not hurting themselves or injuring somebody, at least for general public, right? So, I mean, should it be restricted? No, it shouldn't be restricted. Should there be some sort of education required? I don't see that as a bad thing. Even like I said, Wisconsin, for the first 4 or 5 years, they would accept if people went through hunter's education. What's going on, AI? Al, I almost called you AI again. How are you doing, Al? It's good to see you. Yeah. So the shall issue is bullshit. I think if somebody attends their class and they're able to orally and written, be able to communicate and answer a test and pass, which none of these tests are hard, right? It's harder to get your driver's license. Then go on down the road. Watch some videos, talk about, firearm storage, talk about safe ways to handle a firearm, how to transport and carry. I have no problem with that. California, where they're the ones actually teaching the courses, which is my understanding, it's actual California government, right? Where in Wisconsin, it's instructors. Like I have my NRA instructor certificate. I could teach that class. There's some requirements. I looked at it once, but it's just teaching their curriculum. They should do it. So that gets into, that's an interesting conversation because I just had this with my wife and my kid. So we teach our kids about the dangers of drugs, drug overdoses and stuff. It's a serious thing. It kills a lot of Americans and it impacts a lot of families and innocent people, right? We teach our kids in school about sex education, sexual diseases being transmitted, teen pregnancy and all that stuff is a major thing in America, right? It's a major strain on the economy and it's a health impact. We teach driver's ed in our schools. I don't know about your states, but in my state, they have to attend driver's education. It's not a want. They don't have to get their temps and they don't have to behind the wheel, but they have to attend driver's education. It's part of the core curriculum in schools. So we teach our kids about driving, we teach our kids about sex, we teach our kids about drugs. Why wouldn't we teach them about firearms? When I was a teenager, middle school and high school, we took guns to school. There was trap league, there was a rifle league. We'd go bow hunting. We'd go bow hunting in the afternoon behind the school. In high school, it was a farmer's field. Farmer was cool with it. We'd take our bows to school in the morning. We'd take them into the office. They'd check them in at the end of the school. We'd get off out of school, go to the office, get our shit, slip our cami on, and we'd go hunt in the woods. It was never even a big thing, My oldest son, he shot trap in middle school and high school, and we only live a few blocks from the middle school. He would walk to school with his shotgun. In a case, right? In a case. But he walked to school with a shotgun, go into school, go to liaison's officer. They would check the gun in. And at the end of the school, he'd go to liaison's officer, he'd grab his shotgun, they'd load on buses, and they would go out just outside of town and they'd shoot trap, and it was school. Middle school, he got driven to school because he couldn't walk. His sophomore year, he had his license. But yeah, absolutely. Kids should be taught about firearms. I 110%, actually more than that, I 1,000 times believe that should be a thing. Just to understand it, to maybe educate kids. Because let's face it, we're educating our kids about firearms through video games and movies. And then we wonder why kids come on our lives and start talking about harming stuff, My favorite handgun manufacturer. My favorite manufacturer is Stifler Manufacturing. You can find him in the comments. Go to his website. He's got incredible products. Otherwise, I generally, depending on what I'm doing with it, right? For a concealed carry gun, I choose Glock. For competition guns, I choose CZ. So I guess that would be my two favorite. Which one's your favorite, Michael? What do you prefer? What do you own? What do you want to own? That's Stifler. Don't even sweat it, man. Now, if I went to your website and I saw trash on there, I wouldn't say anything like that. But I've been to your site, and what I see is some really cool shit. You got some really cool products. Um, I've checked out your lives, and you're down to earth, dude. You're no different than me or any of these other guys on here. You know, you could use the term "you're just a good old boy," right? With no racist undertones. I like Ruger's too. You know that? I do like Ruger's. They have a lot of great products. I like their Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4 series pistols. I like the later ones more because they have ambidextrous safety, so I can shoot them. I love Ruger GP100s. I think they're a fabulous gun. Super Blackhawks, Super Redhawks. I got a bunch of their 22 revolvers. Them are really good. Yeah, Smith & Wesson for revolvers, that's hard to beat too. It's a classic. They make great firearms. I like Dan Wesson products too. I'm not gonna lie about that. I like Colts too. I like it all, man. I couldn't tell you just one. Like, if I were buying a 1911 and money wasn't an option, I would probably be like most people. I'd get a Wilson Combat, maybe a Les Bear, an Ed Brown. That would probably be one of the first three I would pick. And there's other ones like the Nighthawks and stuff. But Dan Wesson, makes really cool 1911s. But Kimber too. They make some really great 1911s. So they've gotten better the last few years. They were really good when they first came out. Then they really started working on high volume production because their demand was high. And their quality kind of dropped. The last few years, their quality's come back. But like bang for your buck, what you get, the features you get, Kimber's a good option. You get a lot of gun for the price with Kimber's. Yeah, just normal guy, man. That's like I was saying earlier. We got a lot of cool guys that come on the channel. We got guys who do security. We got guys who do IT. We got guys who do electrical. We got guys doing construction and concrete and all kinds of stuff. Man, just people. Nothing's fancy. Just people. Nobody that's trying to get rich. Nobody that's trying to step on somebody else to get there. Just people, man. Genuine, good people who enjoy the firearms community. What didn't you like about the Ruger 1911? So I have, not in a long time. Overall, like, very top finisher, no, I've never won a very top finisher. Local matches, yes. State, regional, nationals, no. In state, regionals, and nationals, I have won my division, but I haven't done that in years. I mean, we're talking a 20-year-old FE ordnance versus a 47-year-old FE ordnance. The Seymour? Yeah, so what the Seymour does is you see how low the glass is to the slide? That's the reason you mount it on its side, is to drop it as low as you can. I actually prefer that. So even with the hollow sun sights and stuff, they still sit higher. But for me, I was never one to shoot pistols with optics. So I struggled really hard when I first got that, trying to find the dot, because I was looking like iron sights and the dot sits significantly higher. So where you'd bring the gun up and it would be in line with your eye, I struggled with that. So I found that mount and it drops it right on top of the slide. That's the lowest you're gonna go. And for me, naturally, I've come up, it's the same height or same position I would have had iron sights. So it makes it much, much faster to find. For me, you know, other people may like something different, but for me, I like that. That's the only reason the Seymour's still on there, because I changed that mount to try it, because the mount was, what is it, like 125 bucks, I think. And I'd have still had to buy another mount and a different optic, so I tried that. It was a gamble. Well, it worked. When or if that dot dies, then I'll go to something else. Like D-Dog, he just put a 507 on his Parrot, and it's mounted pretty low. So on the open guns like that, they don't put them on the slide, because your slide will reciprocate where that's frame mounted, so it stays stationary. It's much faster. It's much easier to keep a good sight picture when your dot's not moving. You know, your gun will rock up and rock down, but it's not rocking up, rocking down, going forward and going back. Does that make sense? Thing with dots too is that technology is progressing really, really fast. All right, Stifler, yeah, stay on stream. All right, man. Well, like I said earlier, we're just getting these hours in. I'll probably hit it hard the rest of the week. We shoot this weekend, so maybe Sunday when we get back, we'll do a live and we'll talk about the match. Probably post some videos, or during the week we'll talk about it. But we'll hit these hours real hard to try and guarantee that we're going to be fully monetized in the next week and a half or so. And it's hard because they report the hours. They're about a week behind, so I don't really know exactly how close I am. I have an idea, but not exact. So if you guys are in there watching, double tap that screen, throw some likes up on this. Yep, funny. I figured when them guys come in, when them guys come in, jump on there and throw that up there. Tell them that you're going to go ahead and notify their moms too. Plural, more than one. Yeah, it's funny because them guys were in here trolling, and I suspect it was probably the same person on several accounts, and it was probably two kids sitting next to each other doing it. But amazingly, all of a sudden it's quiet. I wonder why it got quiet. Dude threatening to report me kind of pissed me off, I'll be honest about that. But so I really don't have an opinion about the SIG products. I have an opinion about the company, but not so much the products. I don't own any SIGs. I have looked at them, I've held them, I've never shot one. I think for what they cost, there's better options out there for the things that I would want to do with it. And that's just my opinion. So I can't say for you, because like you're saying you have one, I don't. So John Wicks, were you saying you wanted to get into competition shooting? Was that what I was understanding earlier? Yeah. So if you look up, do a Google search, look up practice score. It's like, I think it's actually SIG practice score, but it's, you look it up and you'll be able to go in there and just kind of follow the prompts. But you put in your state and you put in the type of competition you want to shoot. For instance, the action pistol stuff is called USPSA, just like the initials, USPSA. There's IDPA, again, it's the initials IDPA. Them are the two main types of action pistol shooting. And then there's another type of action pistol combination two gun, which is called PCSL. You put them in your searches, you put in your area, and that'll tell you within about a state what competitions. Now you got to check that multiple times through the week because some stuff will come available, and as soon as it's full, the match is full, they'll take it down. But that's how you find matches. If you're in Florida, there's a lot of matches, a lot of ranges that have competition. So that would be how you start it. If you want to start, you find one of them. You need a good quality firearm, and I'm not talking a $3,000 gun, just a good firearm, right? A Glock's a good firearm, a Canic's a good firearm, that type of stuff. Minimum 3 magazines. Usually you want 5 magazines. A good quality holster. Doesn't have to be, a level 2 or level 3 retention holster. It just has to be a good Kydex holster that holds the gun firmly. And then usually two, either a single or a double, but you want the ability to have at least 3 loaded magazines on your belt. For my stuff, I have 4. I like to have 4 magazines on my belt. You show up at your first match, you need eye protection, hearing protection, and usually you take about 200 rounds of ammunition. Most matches are between 100 and 150 rounds. But you find your match, you sign up. If and when you actually do sign up, even if it's in my videos, let me know and I'll walk you through what divisions you want to sign up for, how to do that. But you sign up, you go to the range, you show up early and you find the match director. It's always obvious who they are because they're the ones that are checking people in. But you show up and you let them know you're a new shooter, and they'll help you get set up. They'll explain everything to you. It's a very very easy process, and everybody in the shooting sport wants more people to come and be involved. I mean, you hear me talk about it all the time. You talk with any of the other shooters, and they're all the same way. You want more people involved. It makes the matches more fun. It makes, it keeps having a constant flux of new people, keeps it alive, keeps it growing. And it's cool to see people come and try something that they're not comfortable with. It's not one of these things where you think, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm any of this. If you can hit a target 7 yards away, you're 90% of the way there. Tracking, I don't know if I said that right. What is what? It's a bunch of guns on the table with dogs walking underneath. Well, if you're scared, man, you shouldn't be here. So,
I just want to pick up subscriptions, and we have no money in the flex card. So it just cost me $300 out of pocket.
No, you don't need to have optics. So there's divisions. There's 3 divisions that have optics. Well, technically, right? You have carry optics, you have limited optics, and you have open. They do have limited optics for revolvers and shit, but they're still limited. They're still production. So no, you don't have to have optics, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of competition with iron sights. My kid last year, he shot limited division, so all year he ran with iron sights. There's nothing really that makes you having a disadvantage. Inside of 10 yards, optics have no real advantage. Outside of 10 yards, it starts making it easier to be accurate, but there's not much of an advantage on speed. But the furthest targets, my son keeps correcting me, I think it's 35 yards. But most of your targets are standard silhouette targets. They'll do hostage targets, they'll do reduced size targets, they'll do hardcover and stuff. But if you can hit targets at 7 yards consistently, you will have no problem hitting everything else. You know, you have Texas Stars, you have dropping targets, you have swinging targets, you have targets that pop up, all kinds of stuff like that. We'll try to do a better job this year of actually filming some of the stuff. I do need to, like D-Dog Tactical has the InstaPro. I do need to invest in one of them so you can actually see what the shooter sees. But if you enjoy firearms and you enjoy shooting, that's a great place to be. At your local matches, no. Local matches are just about ego. When you start getting into the bigger matches, yes, there's prizes. Like you get into regional and nationals, I mean, there's big money on the prize. Usually in prizes, like a lot of the smaller regional matches, you would get either the places would give trophies and you'd have prize tables, or they would just give you money. You'd win money first, second, third place. I always like to get trophies and prize tables, but other places they like to just give out money. But generally speaking, it's just your pride. And honestly, you know, I have a whole box of trophies. After a while, they sit there. You know, when we painted our walls years ago, I took them all off the wall and I've never hung them back up. Like when you start getting into national levels and stuff, if you're going to a national and you're winning your division, at that point you have sponsors, you're getting paid to shoot. Like I've said a million times, I'm not claiming to be the best, because I'm not. What I can tell you is, yes, I've won stuff. Yes, I've been shooting a very long time. I can tell you how the game is played. I can tell you how to do it safely. And that's my goal, is just to help other people get out there. I was blessed. I met a guy, 20 some years ago, that held me by the hand and took me out and got me involved in the sport. And so that's what I'm trying to give back, is just helping other people get involved in the sport. I really like having my kids involved and trying to promote shooting sports for what it is. I don't like it when people come on here and they see firearms and they do that, oh, I'm scared, or they're bad, because they're not. Firearms aren't about killing and causing harm. It's a recreational thing. No different than somebody playing darts, in my opinion. I hear you. How old is your kid? Because there's technically no age limit on shooting age for USPSA. One sport that's a lot of fun to do, and I don't think I mentioned it, is Steel Challenge. That's a really good one if you have a young kid that you're trying to get into shooting. It's deceptively easy. Maybe do a search on YouTube and look up Steel Challenge. They'll explain it, and you're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, man, this is easy. It's not hard, but what's hard is to do it fast. Yeah, five would be a little young, but get her out and shoot, man. My kids, they started at 8 with junior marksmanship, and it's a winter thing that the NRA puts on. I can't tell you what clubs in your area do it or don't, but they teach them the NRA way, and they compete on a national scoring system. So they do it from the ages of 18 to 14 or 13. I think it's 13. But all my kids did it. They all started at 8, and my daughter's still in it. She's 11, so she's got a couple more years to go. But like our club, they provide the rifles. It's an air gun, so it's a 25-yard air gun. But they shoot. My kid shoots twice a week. She shoots Thursday nights. That's required. That's a core. You have to be here. Just looking at the buttstock on my M1A. I'm hoping that's dust on it, because if it's rust, I'm going to be irritated as shit. You made it back. Roads are terrible. Is it snowing? Are they icy? What'd your old lady say? Is she mad at you? Of course she's mad, but how well did she handle it? The thing that sucks is when you start reporting people for saying stupid shit like that, it hurts your analytics pretty hard. I'm looking at them right now, and there's only a few people watching, which is pretty abnormal. I don't think we're supposed to get snow, but I know it's supposed to be raining most of the weekend. I think Saturday morning for sure, and then I think Sunday afternoon. So what'd she say, Orange Smoke? Was she mad? Or did she say she completely understands? We'll get the butter out and rub her feet a little. I don't know where everybody went. Like I said, I had all them people that were talking about self-harm and shit, so I reported them, and they killed the video. They killed the stream. I'm gonna bet that where it's usually put out to a bunch of people, they killed it. I had one person say they reported me for threatening to harm my dog. So hopefully I don't get a strike over the shit, because that would suck. Yeah, really dumb. Kind of just what you want when you're trying to get fully monetized. A fucking 14-day strike, that would really mess my stuff up, which is lame. But I guess, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's even worse because, like I said, it's all little fucking kids. It just, I don't know. It's funny to them. Like I said, I'm not trying to get rich or anything, but it'd be cool to um, enable not only my own kids, but other people to get out and do some shooting. Yeah, that's lame. There's no reason for people to be talking stupid. Um, there's no reason for people to say, I'm gonna report you because you threatened to hurt your dog. I never threatened to hurt my dog. But we'll see. We'll see if they actually do. You'll know, because then I'll be stopped posting content for a while, which will be unfortunate. But anyway, you guys are here, so I appreciate you being here. So that's nice, right? I know historically, like, when my videos stop getting any views at all, or they like go to barely anything, then there's usually a strike inbound. No, I didn't, you know. So we'll see. Like I said, somebody was talking about, oh, you should shoot it, you should shoot it. I'm like, what am I gonna shoot? My dog? My TV? Don't be stupid, right? So I guess maybe I shouldn't have said it, but what channel? What channel? You'll have to send me a link. Don't send it in the stream though. Send me in a short, or send it on my phone. Maybe that'd be better. Go to their channel, and just share their channel to my phone, and as I have no problem disagreeing with people. What kind of videos or what kind of channel? Yeah, that was how I said it, and that was how I meant it. I hope that if they did report it, which they probably did, that somebody is at least semi-intelligent and says, okay, hey, look, you know. But being there's only 8 people, I mean, usually by this time I got a good number of people. And I can look at the analytics on the computer here, and it was a huge spike, and I had a bunch of people, and now it's just dropped down to nothing, and there's no new people really coming in, so that tells me they killed it. But we'll stay on for a little while, and hopefully it picks up. It does make it more fun. I'm just, you know, man, I'm being me, right? I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, and when people say stupid stuff and I throw that sarcasm back, I'm hoping that they maybe take a second and reflect about how retarded they sound, you know? I was arguing with a guy the other night, which was kind of priceless. He had a live, and he was on there preaching how a 6mm arc is the greatest thing ever. And so I started asking him questions about why do you feel that way? And he started talking about accuracy and stuff, which is great. And I'm like, okay, then why in a gas gun? Because he's got an AR, right? And well, because then I can do a fast follow-up shots. Now, in the like 3 comments before that, he's talking about how accurate this is, and you know, all these things. I'm like, well, then why would you choose a gas gun for accuracy? And went around and around and talked in circles. And legitimately, I was just trying to figure out where this guy's coming from, and he would answer, but it would completely contradict what he just said in a statement before that. So I would question that. And he finally got mad and said, I'm ending the live. He asked me at one point, he goes, well, I wanted a cartridge that stays supersonic to 800 or 1,000 yards. I'm like, all right, I can understand that. Then why 6mm? And he come back, he goes, well, what caliber would you choose? I'm like, I'd go big, go home, you know, go 50 cal. And he didn't like that either. He's like, you don't even own a 50 ball. I'm like, whatever, man. And it was a whole big long thing, and I wasn't trying to troll the guy, but I was legitimately trying to have a conversation. And in order to have a conversation, I was trying to fully understand and comprehend his thought process on why he felt that was the greatest. You know, give me some facts to work with before I can have a discussion about why or why not. But he got offended and he got his feelings hurt and he ended his live. And the truth of it is I was just trying to have a conversation with him. Yep, it's there. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I call bullshit on that from the word go. My son and I, we were both looking at that, and neither one of us believe that. He's so full of shit, a complete fucking bullshitter. So I had the same thing. I questioned a few of his videos, and now my comments don't even show up on his stuff. I would respect the fact more if he's like, yeah, I just made it look good, because we absolutely know that that's what's going on. But I get it to a point too. He's trying to make money at it. He's trying to make that his career and sell a narrative. You know, Gage jokes a lot. He's like, we put a target up at 15 yards with a pistol, and he'll go, so this is 75 yards, right? We'll shoot at plates, you know, at 600 yards, and he'll be like, well, this is clearly 12,000 or 1,200 yards, you know. He does trash everybody in the comments. It's always nice to be the smartest guy in the room. He's not somebody I don't care for his content. I don't care for his bullshit and his lies. And I just don't. Some people, they might like it or whatever, but I don't. You know. Kind of like him with Glocks. I remember for a while, he would completely shit talk on Glocks. They're the biggest trash piece of gun ever, blah, 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 blah. And then he made a little bit of money and could afford to buy a Glock, and now it's Glock's the greatest thing ever. And then he went to Shadow Systems, and in the beginning he was giving it such a great review. This is the greatest thing ever, blah, 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 blah. Let me suck their dick, ah. And then something happened. Now it's the biggest piece of shit on earth. You know. Well, speaking of a hairy, crunchy coochie, I mean, for the chats, you just showed up, right? So I think we got your box checked there. Way to go, buddy. Yeah, in the beginning though, he was trashing Arkin. You know what I mean? He's sucking dick to whoever wants to give him a free product. Yeah, absolutely. He is full of shit. 100% he's full of shit. You know, you go, like I said, you go back to his older stuff. He sits and trashes on Glock, then gets Glocks. You know, oh, Glock's the greatest thing ever. Trashes on the P90 or PS90. Then he'll trash. He just does it. He's a trash talker, dude. I mean, I gotta wonder how he talks with his mouth so full of cock all the time. YCD Guns, good to see you're back. I need to check out some Arkin. I mean, I know a few guys at work, they have them, and they speak highly of them. Is it better than a Night Force? I don't know. I doubt it. What what Arkin do you have, Godfather? Yeah, of course he does, because he's full of shit. You know? My challenge would be this. If you want to challenge me, you got to come to my state on my range, but pick the time. I got the place, you pick the time. Yeah, that's my understanding, is they make great products for the money. You know, one guy's channel that I really like is that Texas Plinkin. I really enjoy his content. Not all of it, but where he's doing his 1,200 yard challenge. I think that's what it is, right? 1,200 yards. I like that. You know, he gets some guys out there, and some of them guys, I mean, they're you couldn't even describe budget on what they're using. Some guys, you know, they got 15, 20 grand wrapped up in their stuff. But it's kind of funny. They get out there and they show what a shooter has to do with it. You know, some of these guys, 3 shots and they're in there. I remember one episode, I don't remember the episode number, but a guy was out there with a Mosin Nagant with a scope. That was it. Nothing fancy. And he ended up getting, I think, a bronze or something that day. But he walked his rounds right in there and he got his hits. I don't think I can afford Night Force optics. Most of them are a little out of my price range for what I would do with it. If I was doing precision rifle work, I'd probably justify it. But for anything I'm doing, Leupold has always worked good for me. I do want to change the optic on my Savage 308. I have a 10 FLP, which was the law enforcement version of their rifle, heavy bull barrel, synthetic stock, good trigger. That could use a better optic. That would be something I would put one of the Arkans on. No, I haven't. I don't have a lot of experience with red dots on guns. My experience has been primarily my open guns, and they all have frame mounted optics. Yeah, I'm poor, man. So the Gersan, I don't have a crazy number of rounds through it. We will have a review coming up here in probably about a month on it. I'm going to do a comparison between that and the Beretta. And then we're going to do a video on what to look for used guns. And in a Beretta series, there'll be multiple guns being featured, but it'll be in the one there, I'll be able to show the difference between wear in a Gersan and a Beretta. So I guess until that comes out, I don't have a whole lot to say. I got to put more rounds through the Gersan. But fitment wise, quality wise, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think I'd tell anybody not to. I wouldn't tell anybody not to buy one. That's probably about what I would go for my 308 too. I think right now, I think that's about what I have on there now. It might be a 14, 4 to 14 or something, but that 6 to 24 would be about perfect. Arizona Kid, sir, how are you doing? You missed all the fun troll time a little while ago. Yeah, we all know the people that got more pesos. That's the cool thing when you get into like the competition shooting and stuff. You should see some of the stuff these guys have. You know, incredible gear. John, have you ever looked at a CZ? Have you ever looked at like a CZ Shadow 2? That might really change your opinion about striker fired guns. I'm pretty sure they do YCD guns. Actually, Patriot Arms, he did a video on one. He's got one sent to him, a little 380. Do you like that, John? That's another gun I don't really have any experience with, is the Canucks. I just never bought one. I'm not really that curious. But the steel frame one is supposed to be pretty spot on. There you go, orange smoke. Bullseye Ben, how are you doing, sir? I saw your live last night. I did stick around for a few minutes. I didn't comment because I didn't figure you were reading comments. Looked like you were kind of busy playing. My opinion, the CZ is a better firearm than the Beretta. Definitely has a better grip to it and a grip angle. The Berettas are fat. They're chunky in the hand. I personally, and you've seen it, I got a lot of CZs, but I do like the CZ over Beretta. Yeah, like I said, I was there. You were playing your game. I let it play. I went and took a shower and let it play for a while. So if you saw some views sitting in there and nobody was commenting, that was probably me. Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, you start talking to people, and a lot of people really like Canucks. They say they got good triggers, got good ergonomics, bang for your buck. They give you a lot of gear with the gun. So I'm not saying anything bad about it, but you know, for me, I shot a lot of Glocks for a long time, and then I went from Glock to CZ. So I wouldn't, for me, I feel like it would be going backwards to go back to a polymer or even a steel frame striker fired gun. And that's the only reason I don't have any experience with it, is I went to a different platform. At some point here, I'll be switching to something else. I never thought I'd buy a shadow system gun. They never interested me at all. I bought one for my daughter this year. I'll say this, I like the gun. So far it's been a good gun. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that would be a carry gun for you, because then absolutely the Shadow 2 would not be a good option for you. Wick the Shooter, what do you mean by most expensive pistol sight? I could answer it like this. The most expensive pistol sight I have would be my CZ Checkmate, only because it comes with the Seymour. So I could say I wanted the Seymour, so I had to buy the gun. CZ makes great shotguns too. I do like their over-unders. They have some pretty slick ones out there. They're affordable too. They start at a very affordable price, and then they go very high end very quick. There you go. Otherwise, Wick the Shooter, I think the most expensive optic I have on a pistol is like that $400 range. It's a M1A. M1A Scout Squad. It's got the 18-inch barrel instead of the 22-inch barrel. That's actually one of my favorite guns to shoot. I really enjoy shooting that rifle. Yeah, bone stock. It's got the Scout Squads. They come with national match sights. The trigger breaks about 4 pounds. All right, Bullseye Ben. It's obviously got the wood stock. It's got the Scout Scope mount for it, and I actually have a Scout Scope for it. I can't bring myself to put it on there. I don't shoot the gun for bullseye accuracy or nothing. I shoot it for, we shoot plates 300-400 yards, and they're silhouette plates, so I can hit them every shot. I don't have an opinion on a VP9. I've never owned one. I've never fired one. I've looked at them, but looking at them and shooting them is completely different. Yeah, we see them. We see them out on the range. So I've never heard anybody complain. Yeah, I had to wait a little bit for that, as they had the sand colored one, they had the white camo one in stock, and of course the all black, and I like that camo pattern. Um, it only took like an extra 3 weeks to get it, but I do like the gun. I want to get another one at some point here, and I'll get the shorter version, probably the Scorpion. So it won't have any iron sights, it'll be optics only, but I'll do the 4-inch on it. But just like I mean, it's a phenomenal shooting gun. It's nice to buy guns. They cost more up front, but it's nice to buy a firearm that's done, that you don't have to take home. Yeah, Scorpion X, that you don't have to take home and strip down and then rebuild the gun. It's nice just to spend the money and have it done. Great trigger, great action, reliable, pinpoint accuracy. Iron sights on it are great. Right on. That I was talking, you probably heard me talk a few times about that overzealous gun collector, Orange Smoke. He has one of the Volkorstern rifles, the 22 Magnum. So I don't recall what they call that 22 Magnum platform. Ruger's, what is it, 10 something, but yeah, that's that DLC, man, super buttery. It's funny because you don't even oil the gun, you just run it dry. I still use grease in it, but I use grease in everything. That might be the Summit. So the Tanfolio, it's got some nice features to it. It's definitely not a CZ. In Europe, they're half the cost of a CZ. In America, they're about the same cost. It's not the 1022 because it's the 22 Magnum. I don't recall what they call the 1022 Magnum version, but it's that action that looks like it's just the receiver stretched out a little bit. Yeah, I use Shooter's Choice grease in almost everything I have. The M1A, and I actually got called out on earlier, but I do use Lubriplate in that. My Thompson, I use the same stuff, that Lubriplate. And the Barrett, I use that too. But pretty much everything else I own, I use Shooter's Choice in it. The all-weather grease. That stuff's incredible. I'm sure it's worth it. But see, for that, I don't know what you would use it for. So, I mean, basically, like the Black Mambas and stuff, they're competition guns. They're Steel Challenge or Bullseye, I don't have any Tanfolios on here, so I'm not sure what you're looking at. You might be looking at the Checkmate, and that is a Seymour mounted optic. It's a frame mounted optic that's inverted. It's the only one you've used. So I bought that stuff for my M1A, and it's a great lube for that. That's what's recommended. And I figured that was the grease that was being used to work on the Thompson too, right? So I use it in the Thompson. And just because the Barrett's so big, you use a little bit more of it, and I have a big tub of it. That's why I use it in the Barrett. But it's a great grease. It's actually kind of crazy. If you put it on too thick, it stays white. When you get it right, it turns almost clear. So it wipes off easy. It cleans right off with the rag. You don't have to scrub or use any solvent. So that's a good thing. I don't have an M1 Grand, man. I have an M1A. I used to have a M1 Carbine, and I sold it to buy my wife a new wedding ring years ago. Yeah, check out Shooter's Choice, man. You'll love the stuff. Most people tend to put it on too thick. We'll do a video on it. I have used it for years. Like I was saying earlier, when I first got into competition shooter, I had a grandmaster pull me to the side, and I actually had him do work to one of my guns. And he told me, "Hey, you need to lube that." I'm like, "Yeah, what do you suggest?" He goes, "This stuff." And he took me, pulled me off to the side, and he busted out his syringe and showed me how to use it. And then he handed me the tube and said, "Do not ever use anything else." And I've tried other things, you know, but hands down, it's the best stuff that works. I enjoy the product. It's a great product. Yeah, they do. It would look real good with the Thompson too. Yeah, it's pretty bright, huh? I can turn. There's a little streamer light or something turned on. See what we got. Man, there's a big delay in how far stuff goes. Yeah, it ain't gonna help much. That just shines. It's just the light in the room. Yeah, so unfortunately you're kind of stuck with the shine. Yeah, man, you'll trust me. Check out the Shooter's Choice grease. You'll dig that stuff. Well, yeah, it is what I make. It makes for an interesting video. Yep, the GP100's up there too. Yeah, I'm curious. I want to pull his channel up. Let's see what his idea of interesting content is. Should we take a quick poll? Do we think we're gonna see no content, or do we think we're gonna see gamer content? Let's see what we got. We have us a gamer, sir. We got us a gamer. One video, gaming content. Hey, John, I'll tell you what. I'll make you a moderator so you can check out channels. I would ask you just don't start booting people out. But that way, if you want, when people pull up in the comments, you're able to click their channel and actually go to their channel. It's kind of funny when people start trolling. You can tell a lot about the person by going to their channel, and most of the time, it's always one of two types of people. It is always one of two types of people. Either it's somebody with zero content, or it's a gamer kid. And again, I'm not disrespecting any adult that plays video games, but gamer kids, they're a special type of person. Yeah, I like to just kind of, you troll them in the comments, right? Somebody wants to be stupid, then troll them right back. But most of the time after lives, John, I remove the moderators. Um, there's no reason to be a moderator on a channel if you're not on it, right? So I'll generally remove the moderators, and when you come back in future lives or whatever, I'll make you moderator again. That way, when you're talking, you have the ability to, like, Orange Smoke is in the channel. You can directly click on his channel and you can subscribe to him right away. Same with Godfather, right? So when I get to seeing the same guys coming up in the channels, I absolutely have no problem making them moderators. I generally won't do it, the first live or two I see somebody. I kind of want to get to know who you are, or at least where your thought process is. Some other channels, they do it right away. I wait. 37 millimeter under. Yeah, that's 37 millimeter. I wouldn't call it a death machine. I would call it an expensive hole punch. But Arizona Kid too, if you're into like leather work and stuff, he's in here now. He does some really badass leather work. Really? That'd be pretty badass. See, we start talking about trolls, and lo and behold, we get blessed. We get blessed with a troll. Now let's check out this troll's channel, right? Let's do this together. Let's go to the channel and let's look at Mr. Militant Roots. What do we got here? Oh wow, sir, you got no subscribers. Oh, I'm sorry. You have 1 subscriber, no content. Talking about freedom is paramount, and then you're going to be on here trolling people. So, Mr. Militant Roots, you're welcome to stay in the conversation. You're welcome to be productive and everything else. But if you want to trash talk, go on down the road, man. We don't need you. I don't even want you. I'd rather not boot you, but bad decisions, I appreciate it, sir. Obviously, I make a lot of those decisions, huh? Well, I'm not going to call it trolling, but, start calling me a death machine operator. I kind of find that offensive. I find that to be trolling content. If you were here just for interaction, we could talk about it. You started out good enough, right? And maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, right? Bad decisions, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I would. That's all I want, man. Just be who you are, right? There's other channels that say that. I know. That's the whole purpose of the sign. If I set that standard right away, they can't complain their feelings get hurt later. I'm not out here being disrespectful to anybody. I'm just having a conversation. If you want to talk about the guns on the table, we can talk about them. For me, this is just the ends to the means of being able to get the channel monetized so I can do the content I want to do, which is putting out some cool videos. Just covering the topics that I have experience in, to continue to post videos of shooting, be it just stupid shit with the Barrett, or being it the stuff that's fun, like the competitions, which hopefully in the end will encourage you guys to get out and try some competition shooting. Yeah, everybody says that. Someday. Not yet. We got to get them subscribers up there to make it worthwhile. Yeah. I bought that sign during the last election cycle. All my neighbors had all these political signs out there, and it got to be, I get it, man. I'm glad that you're saying who you are, but it got to be a little much. I mean, all the way up and down the street, both sides had signs out, and so I went and stuck that out there, and kind of, I don't know, you know why. I appreciate bad decisions. Yeah, man. Like I said, militant roots. You're welcome to hang out, dude. I have nothing against you. I just maybe I misunderstood your comment. So if I misunderstood it, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, but to me, yeah, we can kill with firearms, right? They're great at it. They're not as good as a drunk mom in a soccer bus or a soccer van, but they do a good job. But that's not what I see firearms used for. And in my life and my family, we use them for competition. We use them for recreation. We use them for teaching my young kids how to be disciplined and how to calm down and focus. Same thing I use martial arts for. Yeah, man. Like I said, that's why I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Nobody meant any disrespect to you. Nobody meant any ill will. I'm glad you're here. Shit, let's talk. You know, I wish you had content so I could see a little bit more about who you are. I see you got 72 subscribers. So, did you private all your content? Did you get strikes for something, or are you just going in a different direction? Absolutely. You know, and maybe that's the difference between me and a lot of people. Like I've said, did I used to hunt? I used to hunt. I grew up on a farm. I mean, we killed a lot of animals. It was what it was. Me personally, at this point in my life, I have no desire to kill anything or anybody. You know, stuck it out with the risky, trisky thing. I'm not sure what you mean by risky, trisky. Which RPK? You're gonna get one of them new? Because the Romanian ones are out again, aren't they? Don't feel like you have to explain. I don't necessarily know what you mean, but if it you don't have to explain anything either, right? You don't owe me any answers of any kind. Yeah. So that's a great investment. Ah, I get it. Well, hey man, if you haven't, consider subscribing. Like the live. Hopefully, I'm gonna see you in future comments or future lives, right? I'll tell you a little bit about what we do here or what I do. Um, I primarily shoot a lot of USPSA and IDPA competitions, more USPSA than IDPA, and we shoot Steel Challenge. I have 3 kids. My youngest is 11, my oldest is 24. I really like to show content of my kids and myself shooting these competitions. I'm not some super shooter. I'm not the grandmaster. I'm just a dude with 3 kids that likes guns, that likes to shoot, and I like to share that. My whole goal or purpose is to try and get people that are shooters and talk them into trying competition, to get them actively involved with not only them getting out shooting, but to get their families out shooting, their wife, their kids, their neighbors, their cousins, right? That's what I want to do. I do a lot of shorts to help get the channel in algorithms and to get subscribers, which in turn gets the video seen. There you go. See, I think we just started off on the wrong foot. We're good, man. What kind of shooting do you do? I like to share my experience. At one time I had my FFL, I had my SOT. I manufactured custom race guns. Um, I'm a shooter. I reload. You know. All right, man. Be good. Uh, I'm glad you. Stopped by and hung out. Leave me a message in one of the shorts, then I can find your channel from this account. So I have my laptop going, but I have to have it on my other account to be able to pull stuff up. I can't do it from my main account. So yeah, man, be good. Take care of that family. Sounds like you got a lot of work. You'd enjoy it, right? Anybody that enjoys shooting would enjoy competition shooting more. Now, when you say competition, you're like, I'm out there to win it. No, man, you're just out there to do it. It's a lot of fun. Um, the type of shooting you get to do, the type of target engagement you get to do, steel, swinging, dropping, turning, popping up. Um, it makes it more fun. You get to shoot in different positions. You get all the different stuff. I would never call that type of shooting training, but what you will get out of it is you will learn to use your firearm at a very high level under stress. That's not going to teach you to, get behind cover or anything else like that, but it's going to teach you how to use that firearm under stress. And it does to a point kind of let you know where you're at, because you have your individual divisions, and then in each division you have different classifications. So not only would you know where you fall in your division and classification, but at the end of the match they rank the whole match first through last. So you would kind of be able to tell, hey, I'm at the bottom of the pack, I got some work to do, or I'm in the middle of the pack, or upper to the pack. 3-gun's a lot of fun. You don't see a lot of 3-gun anymore. What you do see is a lot of 2-gun, so rifle, pistol. I'll be honest, I used to shoot a lot of 3-gun, and that made for a complicated day. Not because of the shooting, but because of all the gear you needed. A lot of extra gear. There you go. That's the guy to talk to right there, Arizona Kid. Arizona Kid, do you see Orange Smoke? Could you two subscribe to each other so you can make contact? Nicholas, how are you doing? Are you related, Nicholas? Are you related to John? We have a gentleman on here. His name is John. Same last name. He has the webpage, John's Arsenal. Pretty cool dude. Oh, am I saying? I think he gets mad because I say it wrong all the time. I think that's why he changed his channel name. That's Godfather. That's one thing that I've really enjoyed is I've been blessed. A lot of the guys that are coming in this channel, with the exception of the trolls, all seem to be connecting. Again, like minds, like hobbies. Dave, how are you doing? We're just speaking of like-minded people. I do have an M4. No, no, not a Benelli M4. I have a Benelli M1 Super 90. But anyway, I've had a lot of really cool people that have joined in, and I pay them the same respect. I go to their lives. I know when most of them do their lives, so I won't do my lives when they're doing theirs because I'm in their lives, right? Um, but there's a lot of cool people. Orange Smoke's one of them. Not a sponsor to you. Ammo Alchemist. Um, John's Arsenal. Arizona Kid. Uh, the average or the below average Utah Dad. Um, yeah, it's camo. Uh, if you're looking at safe pictures, or if you looked at the shorts, it's in the door and it's on the far left hand side of the door. It's a tiger stripe camo. I did that when I still had my shop. Yeah, I've had that gun a long time, and I'll be honest, I love it. I still love that shotgun today as much as I did the day I got it. Super great gun, super reliable. The first 4 years I had it, I bet you I shot 10, 15,000 rounds through it and never cleaned it. I finally got to the point where I felt bad because I hadn't cleaned it. It still ran. Never had a single hiccup in it. The A300 is supposed to be a super. Have you shot it yet? Have you had a chance to get out with it? That A300? I've been looking at that 1301. I've been looking at that A300. I want to get a second. I don't want to call it tactical shotgun, but a second service style shotgun. The Benelli M4, I like them now that they come threaded for choke tubes. You can get them threaded for choke tubes, depending on what version you get. I want that model. The version before that had just the modified barrel, I didn't have a lot of interest in. How did it feel? Was it nice recoil impulse or was it snappy? You want to get yours Cerakoted? I'm sure there's people in Canada that do that, right? They don't. They haven't messed with any of your guys' shotguns, right? They're not like the pistols or rifles. I guess too. I'd be curious. Um, the M2 Field. That's a really desirable shotgun too. That used to be the one you saw the most in 3-gun. Was people would do the M2 Field and they'd get it machined so they could ghost load it. Right. And that's threaded for choke tubes, isn't it? The A300. Yeah. That's one thing I don't care for shotguns. I want them threaded. You know, be it internal threaded or external threaded like the Sega 12s. They got to be threaded, man. So is your shotgun, Dave, is it the 14 inch? Or I'm trying to think, your rifles are 14 inches, where ours have to be 16 inches. Are your shotguns the same way? Can you get shorter shotguns? Our shotguns by law all have to be 18 inch. So, Arizona Kid, welcome back. Is it 19? The Spas 12s are great for collection pieces, but they have a lot of issues. They break a lot. years ago I wanted one too, and I was looking at them and I did a little bit of research on them, and I could handle, okay, it's SPAS 12, it's gonna break. There's parts, like, you can almost count it eating up certain parts, but at that time there wasn't really any parts available. We can get a 15-inch, 14-inch. See, that'd be badass. I wish we could have 14-inch shotguns. Rifles are 16 inches, and shotguns got to be 18 inches. Okay. 14-inch rifles would be nice. I don't think that you could call an A300 for porous. I think it's just a gun that came in that was a little more affordable. You'd rather have the M3? The M3, it's, you can run it semi-auto or you can run it pump like a SPAS, right? I don't think I've ever seen an M3 in person. Where are you going?
Gauge.
Alright. Me cordon bleu? No?
Yeah.
I didn't forget about it. Yeah, we can get a tax stamp. I was just saying, generally speaking, I guess maybe I should have specified that, but like Canada, they don't, for the 14-inch rifles, they don't need to do any special permits. I don't know if you guys can you get special permits to go lower or smaller than 14 inches? Yeah, the Beretta or the Benelli M3 is a lot like the SPAS. You can run pump or semi-auto. I don't know. Why would they ban that? I don't know why. Canada's, I don't understand their reasoning. You know, Canada can have all kinds of Chinese imports too. You guys can import a lot of guns in Canada that we couldn't import into America. You know, like all the Chinese rifles and stuff that you guys were still able to get, or not even the Chinese rifles, but the Chinese ammunition. You know, we had ammunition shortages and you guys were getting ammo from China by the freighter. Nobody understands any government, man. Nothing they do makes sense. Nothing at all. One of the Slamfire shotguns. If you're looking for something like that and a cheap way to go about it versus finding like an old Winchester or something, look for the Ithaca Model 37s. See, Dave, I would like to say so many things like, hey, you know, let's hook up. Hey, sell me a crate of them, but it'd be wrong and immoral and illegal. But I wish that I had access to some of the stuff that you guys do. I'm sure, I mean, I know you guys would love to have access to some of the stuff we do. Corn Bob, that's the best view you're gonna get of it. I can turn it a little bit if you want to see the comp. Wait for the camera to catch up here. There's the comp. It's kind of the best view I can give you. I'm not able to pick them up or hold them or anything on a live. So. I can't. I bet. The triple threats are cool. That's another gun I've never seen in person. Right on, Corn Bob. I mean, I would love to show you more in detail. If you want to see them in a little more detail, you can find footage on the channel of it. I just can't pick anything up on live. It would be really cool if we could, man. I would love to pull them out. We'd take them apart. We could look at them. There's a 357 on the table. That's the very, very top gun all the way up in the top, man. Yep, Ithaca Model 37. That gun was capable of slam fire. Ithacas were good shotguns too. I've had a few of them over the years. Nothing lately, like I'm talking 20 years ago, but the last one I had was an Ithaca Model 37 Deer Slayer, and it was a featherweight. Even with just game loads, field, like Walmart bulk pack field loads, it had a pretty good recoil. I bought it. It had the stock had broke. I dropped it, busted the stock. I went in and I put pins in it and I acuglassed it and put some wood putty, filled in the crack, refinished the stock, and I could tell you where it was broke, but nobody else could. My brother-in-law wanted a shotgun. At that time, he could only hunt in our county with shotgun, so he was looking for something for shotgun hunting. I had that. He asked to borrow it. I let him borrow it. And after deer hunting, he goes, "How much?" So I ended up selling it, but it was a cool gun. Yeah, everything's gotten more expensive. I wouldn't say the quality on things have gotten better, but time and age, man. It's like showing how old you're getting, how old I'm getting, you know. When I first started buying Glocks, a good Glock was $500. If you wanted night sights, you'd pay another $50. And now they're what, 600, 650, you know. An AR-15, a good AR-15 you get for 1100, and you'd buy an AK for 350. Now a good AK is fucking 1200 bucks, and you're buying AKs for 6, 7. Things don't make sense. Yeah, hunting guns, you know, it's nice to have a gun you really like and a good quality. But if you're taking a gun out in the field, marsh, swamp, whatever it is, you better suck it up that gun's gonna get beat up and it's gonna get some rust and it's gonna get corrosion, it's gonna get pits, it's gonna get scratched. To me, it builds character. I have no problem looking at a firearm I use and seeing wear. I don't want to see wear on guns that I want to take care of, but on any gun that I use a lot, to look at it and see wear marks, that makes me feel good. It's a tool. It should show wear. Yeah. I don't recall a time ever seeing Russian SKS as being that cheap here, but like my first SKS I ever bought was a Romanian SKS. It was during the assault weapons ban. I paid $100 for it. After the assault weapons ban ended, I bought a Chinese SKS pawn shop for $150. You know, I bought Mosin Nagants, paid $75 for them. I had a handful of them I bought. Now they get big money for them. I should have bought more. Which one did you like more? Oh, you had a Chinese. I'm sorry, I was reading. Thought Dave's comment was yours. Which do you remember what arsenal you had? I still have an Arsenal 26. I have an Arsenal 36, which seems to be next to impossible to find any information on it. Yep. So John, my 1911, I have my Colt. I built that gun for competition, and I ran it for a few years, and I put a lot of time in it. I built it when I was going to school for machine tool, so all the machine work on it I did. And I'll be honest, I don't carry that gun anymore. I definitely don't shoot it in competition, and I treat it like extra special. Not because it's a gun or whatever it is, but because the sentimental value for me of learning all that work. I kind of really enjoy that firearm. One gun at a time, man. You know, find a good store that does layaway and write it off as just a guilty pleasure. You know, long term you end up with a lot of cool stuff. Short term, what's $50 a check, you know? WP for first AK. It'd work. I missed the opportunities. Right after I became a dealer, they had the Arsenal, the Bulgarian AKs, and they were like $700, man. I should have bought one. The distributor I was saying, he was even telling me, hey, because he was trying to get me to buy a lot. I'm like, no, no, no. He goes, just buy one for yourself. You'd be glad you did it. And I never did. I should have done it. Yeah, I don't take it out very often. Um, that's one of the things. Like once a year, we'll take it out. Usually, when my oldest comes along for just a range day, uh, he's always really enjoyed shooting it, and it's one of the guns that, you know, provided I don't die in the next 5 minutes, it's one that he's been promised would be his. All right, Arizona kid, I appreciate you hanging out with us. But I still, you know, I like shooting it, but I just don't shoot it like I used to, and I have no desire to. Yeah, like I said, they were, you know, $300, $350. And man, I don't know how many of them I had come and go out of my hands. And I'm not even saying through the business, I'm just saying my own personal ones. I would buy them, and we'd go out like when we had bump stocks. I mean, I melted a few of them just for shits and grins because they were cheap. It cost me almost more in ammo than it did for the gun. You know, we would sit out there for a full day and just melt the gun down. You'll get done with them, and you get done shooting, you'd have to turn them upside down so the barrel would droop back down to get the gas system to work, because the barrels would start sagging on them. But yeah, we'd sit out there and just run the gun, man. Now I would never consider doing that, but you know, I'll tell you this: AKs over ARs, they run, and they run forever till the barrel starts drooping. Then you turn it upside down, let it droop back, let it cool off, and then go back to it. Last fall, once the bump stock stuff got reversed and they were legal again, I just so happened to find, you know, a few of them stocks in the river. And I took my son out, and we took out a M16 lower, and then we took out the bump fire stocks, and he was playing with the bump fire stocks. I took him a little bit to get the hang of it, and he's like, man, there's not a whole lot of difference. Obviously the M16, because you can pull it in tight on your shoulder, it's got less recoil, but he just thought that was the coolest thing ever to be able to play with them. Fubar, don't you dare touch that. And this is why I get in trouble. Y'all saw that, right? Yeah. Today might just be the day of getting strikes. Because the last time I had a dog do that, I ended up getting a strike over that. The wood starts on fire, and polymer melts. I have a Troy forearm on him That's the one I had on at the time, one of the Troy Alpha battle rails. It's kind of like the ones I have on the ARs. It's all metal, and that's the one I had on there. And we would glove, of course, and then you're gripping it by the magwell, or you'd grip it up and over and push out on it. But they'd get hot and you couldn't hold on to it. Like I said, we could usually run about 6 mags through it, and then you'd have to set the gun down and let it cool off enough to grip it, and then let the barrel droop back down. But the chrome lining in the WASRs, the WASRs, it holds up. It saves the barrel. But I'll tell you, any of that wood they put on AKs, they soak that shit. I don't know what they put on the creosote, but it's funny. You start watching it boil out of the wood, and then it starts to smolder, and smolder a little more, and next thing you know, you got little flames. That's classy. Yeah, I'd be concerned what it does to the heat treatment. But basically letting it cool, you just do an air quench on it versus a liquid quench. But Rob West, I'm not sure. The Parabellum P08. Parabellum refers to a cartridge, 9mm Parabellum. The P08 obviously is a firearm. I think a lot of people say that Parabellum 308 or P08. You guys get that from video games. That's not the actual name of a firearm. Yeah. It's a little more difficult now. When my mom was still alive, I had access to the farm and we shoot it out there. My mom used to shoot that. She'd get a kick out of it. She didn't care for the rifle too much, but she liked the launcher. We had a lot of fun with that. At the range, we're not supposed to shoot that stuff. I'm not saying I won't, but definitely have to be either earlier spring or after some good rain so we don't start shit on fire. It was way cooler when I could play with it out at my mom's. I actually got that in after Sandy Hook, as the stuff with Crimea popped off with Russia and Ukraine, and then the Sandy Hook shooting happened, and that was one of the things that they were going after. So I bought that, and that's the exact same time I bought my Sega 12 because they were banning small arms from coming in the country from Russia. Yeah, it's funny because, like, when you go to gun shows, I had a guy, my oldest, we were going around and he was looking at a table, and I think he was probably about 10, 12 years old at the time. And he had some M1 Grands on his table. He had a Thompson. He had some other weird stuff. And my son, Che, my oldest, he was able to tell him what these guns were. And the guy's like, it's funny. He goes, a lot of the older guys don't know what these guns are, but these kids know what they are because they're getting them out of video games. And that's exactly, because then I had asked, how did you know that? And it was exactly how he knew what the shit was, is because of the video games, the Call of Duty or Modern Warfare or whatever he played. So that aspect of things is kind of cool for them to learn a little bit, but to base all their knowledge on a violent video game is a little rough. When my oldest was still here, any video game I would get him, I would play. And not that I was really into video games, but I wanted to know what he was playing. Now with my middle son and my daughter, he plays games yet, so I don't play them anymore. I just ask him if they're appropriate. But they don't really get to game very much. They're not around enough. A few years ago, I bought for Gage, my middle son, I bought him a VR set, and he'll be here in a little bit. He can tell you the name of the game, but it's a shooting game. They got all kinds of guns you can modify, but it's like range type stuff, shooting gallery and stuff. That's actually a lot of fun. Some of the movement in there, it makes you feel like you're falling through your floor or something, but it's kind of cool. But my daughter, she's like most kids, she'll play Minecraft and Roblox. I think that's about all she plays. I'm not real sure if she plays other stuff. I've never seen her play it. It was really cool. Like some of the stuff they had in that you know, it wasn't quite like a USPSA, but you're in a gallery and you have targets moving by, you know, front, below you, above you, you know, swinging side to side. So you're moving and tracking stuff. Yeah, the VR. So it was kind of cool. I won't lie. When he gets home, I'll have him. Should be on his way home here pretty quick. I'll have him tell you what the name of it is. But the VR is weird. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but I mean, it moves and you feel like you're moving, you know. He had one action game in there. Again, I don't recall what it was called, but you don't like walk like you do in a normal video game. You pick a spot, you press a button, it like fast forwards you to that spot. And I'm telling you what, man, you would start getting nauseous from it. Really cool though. Really cool when you're playing this game that you got to remember to look behind you and, you know, up and down, and kind of a different thing. Yeah, some of that stuff is really cool. I know there's a shooting thing that's all VR. I've looked into it. I forget the name of it, but it's like for Steel Challenge and USPSA. And I've looked at buying it, but you got to buy the console and stuff, or whatever they use, but you don't actually buy the game, you rent it. And it's not super expensive, but I don't want to rent something. I don't want a monthly bill from them. Let me cut a check or get the card out and I'll own it. But another thing is they have a few firearms available, but they're not really the guns I use, so it would be good training for people. But I think one of the guns is the 320, the SIG, and I think it's a Glock. They have a Glock or a 1911 or a Staccato or something style. So if you were shooting them guns, it would be a great way to train. A great way to get like instinctive shooting down or predictive shooting. I know there's people out there, when I was reading on this stuff, I went to some forums, and there was people out there that were 3D printing other platforms like CZ Shadow 2, but there's nothing they're selling. So I don't have a 3D printer. I probably won't buy a 3D printer because I'd get in trouble with it. Yeah. See, that's the type of stuff that if I were going to play video games, I'd like growing up, man, with Nintendo, I liked Super Bike, I think is what it was. I liked the Hogan's Alley. I liked Duck Hunter. I don't remember what the trap version was of that Duck Hunter, but I liked that one. Them were the games I liked. I don't know if it would be the same one. There was a guy from Japan, was an airsoft god, right? And he came to the United States and he started doing the speed shooting, and he did exceptionally well. I don't recall the guy's name, but he ended up getting disqualified a couple times, a couple years in a row, and it was for gun handling. Yeah, so that's the kid. Super, super cool shit, I guess. Um, I mean, I guess, what did they say? The first year he was here like the day before and fired like 1,000 rounds or something to get used to the gun. But, I mean, Contra, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Does that sound familiar? I know it does, because you know the cheat code too. That is forever etched in my head. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Contra was a cool game. That's stuff that, unfortunately, the kids aren't going to get into that game anymore. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Every once in a while, I'll make a comment about something like that to my son, and I'll tell him that cheat code, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Man, that's a cheat code. You get infinite number of lives. I don't even know, was it possible to beat that game without that invincibility or max lives, whatever you called it?" I don't think I ever did. One of the games I used to love at the arcade was that Operation Wolf. Yeah, that was my impression too. You had to cheat. Sir Cassie, how are you doing? Did you ever play that Operation Wolf Orange Smoke? It was an arcade game, but it had the Uzi, and then on the side it had the grenade launcher. It was like it was timed for like Vietnam era. That was a video game I used to love. I've tried, every once in a while, I'll go online and I've looked for the arcade and to buy it for home. I would play that forever, man. I remember I was probably playing that game 2 or 3 years before I realized that on the side of the Uzi there, it had a grenade button. I remember the first time I figured that out, I figured it out by accident. I'm like, that's been on there all this time. They still have it at Dave and Buster's. I wonder if they have it. I'll have to look and see if they have a Dave and Buster's here. I'd play that. I may even go in there after hours and steal it, because that was a fun game. I liked that game. That was probably my favorite arcade game. There was a Terminator one too. I don't remember what that was called. That's newer though. My oldest, we took to Chuck E. Cheese a few times for his birthday, and Pitfall was a good game too. We took him to Chuck E. Cheese a few times, and we sat there and played Terminator until we beat it, 2-person. What is my dream gun? I'd really like an MG34 or 42. That'd be pretty badass. It'd be even more badass to get one of the quad anti-aircraft mounts, or the Browning M250 quad mounts on the back of a half track. That would be a dream gun for me. The Stiffy Point, absolutely. Are you guys familiar with Stifler Manufacturing? He's in production with a 2025 race gun called Stiffy Point. If you want to know more about it, go to Stifler Manufacturing and leave him an email asking about it. The actual just straight up FAL, or STG 58, was the heavier barrel version, a different handguard. I have a L1A1 actual BSA manufacturer. And it's an import. It wasn't one of these kick gun builds they did in the States. It's a cool gun for the collection, but yeah, so I think that's the STG 58 is what it was called. The FALs were full auto. The L1A ones, they were semi-auto only. Them are cool. The heavy barrel ones, they had the bipod and the handguard too. Them are actually pretty cool guns. You don't see too many people playing with them anymore. 15 years ago, it was a pretty popular build people would do. Would you get the wood stock or would you get the synthetic stock? Or go paratrooper? That L1A1 I have, it has the L1A2 suit optic. I've never even really played with that optic because it's offset, so you got to be right-handed to shoot it. My kids have shot it. I was asked questions about it, and I answered incorrectly because I have no experience with that optic. 34 packages. Wow. Good job making that money. We were just talking about you, Stifler. Yeah. It's funny too, because back in I bet you maybe 2008 frame, 2009, Century Arms was importing their L1A1 clones, but they were coming in with the Rhodesian camo on the stocks and forearms and stuff. The Wooks. Yeah, some of their stuff is pretty cool. Not yet, LOL. We just told a guy to leave you a comment on your website asking about the Stiff Point 2025. Maybe if we can get enough people asking you about it, you'll at least give us a draw on one. A concept rendering. Yeah. You said some of them packages were going to, I forget where you said. There isn't too many people that are going to run a G17 though. It's not legal for any competition. So, I don't know. It's kind of a cool thing, but I don't think there'd be that many people actually buying it. I could be wrong though. I don't know. Yeah, we already patented the name. I like that orange smoke. Yeah, I do. Then they had, was it the woolly mammoth teeth on them, right, for grips? But it looked like they were Damascus looking almost, right? Thinking of the right guns. $4.4 million. Yep. I know Cabot, they on some of their stuff, they still use the woolly mammoth teeth. There's a website too you can go to that they sell them grips, the woolly mammoth teeth. They're expensive. Evidently, they come across a lot of them, but they're cool looking. Yeah. So foobar, huh? Yeah, trying to think who else in this company. There's been a few people. Even like speaking of the asteroid, guns, like the Jesse James, he makes them Damascus 1911s. Them are really cool too. I think Nighthawk. I don't remember. One of them companies they make some Damascus 1911s too. I think Nighthawk. So Orange Smoke, when are we gonna get you on alive? Nighthawk. Yeah, I think Night Force is an optic. I'll be honest, to sit and talk for hours and rattle on about guns, everything starts blurring together. But we'll get you on one Orange Smoke and we'll pick your brain for 8 hours. Even Stifler, I mean, I see you. It gets hard to not mix stuff up. We'll get you there, man. You try it. We'll get your live hours up, and a lot of people, like I said, I never understood why people did them. They're time consuming. But it's a great way to get subscribers, and it's a great way to get your hours up. So speaking of hours and all that, if you guys haven't and you're kind of watching, not joining the conversation, double tap that screen, throw a like on the videos. Consider subscribing to me, obviously. Consider subscribing to Arizona Kid, Orange Smoke. John's Arsenal, I don't think he's been in here today, but he's got some cool stuff. Not a sponsor to you. D-Dog Tactical. Who else am I missing? I'm missing a bunch of people. Yeah, the Black Mamba. Arizona Kid, that's the same gun. It's the camo one on the table right here in front. You got the long barrel too, right? Orange Smoke. I don't know why I'm asking that, right? Because I know you do. What's Trigger Hill? I'm not familiar with that. Oh, you got the 4. I thought you had the long one. What's Trigger Hill? And looking back, I don't think I'd order the 6-inch again, but I got it just for the velocity for Steel Challenge, and I planned on shooting iron sight, so I wanted that longer sight radius. But that 4-inch should probably be a better option. All right, Arizona Kid. Yeah. I see a lot of people around suppressed. You know, stuff like that is hard because I don't know anybody that owns one in person. They don't have them at any stores, you know. Huh. I'll have to check that out. I'm not familiar with it. I screenshotted it so I'll be able to find it. Clint Morgan. I'm not sure who Clint Morgan is. Is that another channel or? Crunch, how are you doing, sir? Good to see you. John, we were just talking about you, sir. Yeah, I'm still live. Literally 3 minutes ago, I was talking about you. Your ears must have been ringing. We did a live earlier. I was loading some ammo, and now we're here. Okay, now I know who Clint Morgan is. Yeah. He's not doing any social media or anything anymore, is he? He kind of retired from that, right? He was kind of a cool shit. He was much more of a natural than the guys they have doing it now. So John, how am I gonna get that Thompson stock from you? And how much? Yeah, I was saying good things. I was actually telling people to subscribe to your channel. Saw some people kind of sitting in the background. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. You know, check out Orange Smoke, John's Arsenal, D-Dog Tactical, not a sponsor for you, Ammo Alchemist, all them guys. Okay, well, you have my phone number, right? I've tried sending it to you. I think you should have it. All you gotta do is call me and I'll give you my number. No. You have a pen and paper? I'll give you part of it. I'll give you part of it now and I'll give you the rest in one of your videos. But it's 920 and 527. Hang on to that. In a day or so I'll go in one of your videos and I'll post that, but I want to make sure you're live when you do that. Actually, hold on. I can do it like this. Yeah, I'll wait a day or so and I'll get you that information. I'll just leave it in one of your comments somewhere on one of my videos or one of yours, and then you'll find it. Do me a favor though, when you get it, erase it, please. The comment. Yeah, if you should have the last four numbers somewhere. I sent that to you. So it'll probably be from another channel, John, but it should be pretty obvious where it came from. So I'll bet if in about 5 minutes, if you go to your channel and check your comments, you'll find it. I keep Skittles in it. Isn't that what everybody keeps in a buttstock? Um, $45.70. I don't have a lot of experience with $45.70. I have my brother-in-law had a Marlin, and I loaded ammo for him, and I liked it. Big, heavy, fat, slow-moving bullet. It was fun to shoot. Definitely recoiled. And then I shot the guy who got me into shooting and reloading. He got me into. He had a Springfield trapdoor. It was a current reproduction. I think Cimarron made it. But that was a really cool gun to shoot. You couldn't shoot modern ammunition. You had to shoot older stuff that the gun was rated for. But he had some black powder loads, and that was actually kind of cool to shoot. Yeah, it's subsonic, so a big old fat moving bullet. Which one are you looking at though, Godfather? .16-inch container, $45.70. Pay the Snuckle, what's going on? How are you doing today? Just bought a Ruger 5.7. So you can probably tell me more than I could tell you. I don't own a Ruger 5.7. I've never fired one. I've never handled one. So why don't you tell me your thoughts on it? Waiting for Arrow Precision to make one. I mean, there's no disputing 4570's got some serious nuts behind it. I mean, think about how old that cartridge is, and it's still super prevalent. Well, that new Can You work for that? My everyday carry is a Glock 26, a Gen 5 Glock 26. Nothing fancy, nothing exciting. I thought so. I just wanted to ask again. Guys, do me a solid and double tap that screen. Throw some likes on the short. Carrier Shield Plus. How do you like it? You gotta double tap the screen though. When you do the hearts and stuff, it doesn't count for a like. You gotta double tap that screen and that'll give you a thumbs up. So JR Zone, you put out some good gun content too, huh? Let's see. I can't subscribe there, but I'm gonna subscribe to you on my other account, and if you would, JR Zone, go in one of my shorts and leave a comment so I can find your channel for my main account, please. Yeah, you still got stuff posted though. I mean, shit. Got a nice Colt. Have you ever, JR Zone, have you ever checked out Ammo Alchemist? He's big into the Colt Pythons too. Not that I'm trying to divert you from my channel, but I'll definitely subscribe to your channel from my main account. Like I said, you got to go into one of the shorts or something so I can find your channel. I can find it from this other account off my laptop. I could go in there, but it'd be easier just to have you go in there. How you doing, Crunch? I already saw you. How are you doing? Must be wake up time or pretty close, huh? Yeah, perfect. That'll get me to your account. So I always 5:30 a.m. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock here. Godfather, I appreciate it, man. Godfather, did you subscribe to the channel? Are you subscribed to the channel? If not, would you consider? Would you also do like JR Zone just did? Go in one of my shorts, leave a comment so I can find your channel, please. I'd like to subscribe. Actually, I subscribe to him. Definitely sub to FV, one of the only gun tubers. Live stream actual answer. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I have no reason to. I admit it. I go to other people's lives and I'll sit and talk with them, and I know they don't have experience with stuff, and they'll sit and answer like they do. I'm not that way. I'm not gonna bullshit anybody. Macro in the store. I think not a sponsor carries a macro. The only thing I would recommend is what I could carry every day. It's what I trust my life on. It's just a Glock 26. But there's a lot of better options out there. For me, I carry the Glock 26 because I've been carrying it for 25 years. I carried a Gen 3, a Gen 4, and now a Gen 5. Yeah, M1 Grand, about $1,500 usually, going up from there. A lot of times now, if they're in decent shape, you're gonna see them over 2,000. Yeah, that's not an M1 Grand, so It's a M1A. So we're not really supposed to talk about gun prices and stuff on YouTube, but if, say, you were going to McDonald's and you were going through the drive-through and you were on the dollar menu, so you were going to buy hamburgers, you could buy a 1911 starting about 300 hamburgers and on up to 10,000 hamburgers. So it depends what you want and what you want to do with it. Yeah, Glock's a good service pistol. You know, you can hate on them, you can like them, you can whatever, but what they have going for them is they work. And you can use them across the board. You can use them for a carry pistol, a home defense pistol, a service pistol, and a competition pistol. They do everything well. You know, they're like a Swiss Army knife. They do a lot of jobs. Now, a Swiss Army knife scissors may not be the best scissors, but it'll work, right? It'll punch a hole in leather or do a lot of things. I'm not saying it does it better than others, but across the board, they check all the boxes. Honda Civic of the firearms, absolutely. You know, they do a lot of things really well. Yep, extra for bacon. So if you want an ambi safety, you're gonna have to upgrade, have them add that bacon to it. You know, it's funny that, like, you can't talk about gun prices, but I know we've all seen the channels that their whole channel is, one, either going to gun shows, or two, they show their stores. You know, there's one store in particular, they put out a video damn near daily, and it's a big store. They have a lot of product that they cover, and they're not shy at all. They tell you the prices, you know, and it's 100% a commercial, the entire thing. I like it. I like seeing what they get. They get some cool stuff, but how that doesn't violate terms and policies, I have no idea. It doesn't even make sense. And then you see somebody else like Ammo Alchemist who's at the range shooting, and that's all he's doing is shooting a gun, not talking, not nothing, and he's getting in trouble for it. My son, he's lost 2 accounts in the last couple of weeks here. Both of them, they gave him no ability to appeal or anything. They just straight up removed his content, deleted his page. No, we're not supposed to talk about gun prices on here. That's why we use if you were buying hamburgers. You guys in the comments can. I'm just not supposed to. YouTube is a very, very anti-gun platform. They have no problem promoting firearms and usage. They just don't want people doing it in a mature, responsible way. If you're breaking the law and you got a Glock switchy and you're out there showing that shit, they're cool with it. They want people to see that. They promote it. But if you're at the range and you're, you know, target shooting or you're being responsible, they don't want to show that stuff. That's not what they want people to see, because they want to paint a picture. They want to set a narrative that, hey, all guns are bad. So if all you see is these young guys shooting illegally modified firearms and they're on the side of the road or in the backyard or wherever these guys do it, that directly helps their narrative. Kind of shitty. Kind of really shitty, if you ask me. Really, really shitty. You know, and they should be ashamed of themselves for it. Yep, Food Channel. Which one's your favorite? What do you mean, which one's my favorite? Yeah, my M1A I really like. That's one of my most enjoyable rifles I have. Yep, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's a sham, because, you know, like I said, Ammo Alchemist, you go to his channel, all he's doing, he's at an indoor range and he's shooting. That's it. Doing a simple shooting drill, and he gets constantly, he's had multiple channels taken down, and they call it all the same thing. They call it facilitating the sales of firearms. He's not talking about prices. He's not talking about products. He's not giving endorsements. All he's literally doing is loading a pistol, loading a rifle, shooting at a target, showing, because it's indoors, it shows a cool muzzle flash, but he's losing channels over that repeatedly, you know? I would love to say this is why or whatever, but there's no reason, none, you know? I know other people who are out shooting competition shooting, and myself included, I've gotten strikes for it, and they start giving you strikes for harmful, dangerous acts. Yeah, I'm in a competition, you know. Eye protection, ear protection, safe areas, safe area downrange, targets, backstop. You couldn't be more controlled than that, and they'll give you strikes. Some of them they've stuck, some of them they've let go, but yeah. It's weird, man. I had on one of my other channels, I had some stuff I green screened, and it's funny because it was people with switches, right? And it's like, all right, how are these guys getting away with it? So I green screened a video off of their channel, which is allowed, and I got strikes for it. And like the first couple strikes, they wouldn't even let me appeal. They gave me no option. I could hit appeal, but there was no option to say anything. The last time they gave me a strike, there was a spot to say something in there, and I simply asked, how can you censor my video when I green screened it from somebody else's video, and you're allowing it there, but you're giving me a strike and censoring it on mine? And their response was, we reviewed it and we reversed your strike. The original poster, that whatever, it's still there. It was never touched, and it was a whole big thing. Nothing but dudes shooting in the backyards, front yards, in a city, shooting out of driving cars, shooting into water, shooting off the side of the road, shooting at the road, and I did wrong. I got in trouble. Yeah, that it doesn't make sense. Some of them were in Chicago, yeah, and it wasn't like, you know, I had to kind of look to see. Dude, you could see the houses. They're shooting at their neighbors' fucking houses. You know what I mean? But that's cool. That's fine. That's okay. That's acceptable. Here I am shooting at a competition, or I'm an alchemist at an indoor range shooting, and we're violating their policies. Harmful, dangerous acts, facilitating the sale of firearms. You know, guys can go. They can go fuck themselves. It's. I hate to say that, but whatever person they have reviewing the videos or making the decisions, dude, they're so bogus it makes you sick. Just absolutely bogus. And that right there is why I have the mindset, and I strongly believe that they're allowing that content for the sole purpose of pushing an agenda, for the sole purpose to let people that maybe have no opinion about firearms say, hey man, these firearms are horrible. These are bad. You know, look at what they're doing. Hey, what state was it? Colorado, I think, has written up and introduced legislation on a state level to ban Glock switches. So they want to ban a device that illegally modifies a Glock and makes it a machine gun. They want to ban these. Never mind you, they already banned machine guns. They already banned machine guns. You know what I mean? They're already outlawed. But we got to write a special policy saying we're going to ban Glock switches. They're already illegal, you stupid fucks. You know what I mean? How? Oh. Can you tell I feel passionate about it? You know, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And that's all they want to do is push that agenda, you know? And I feel bad. Yeah, breathe. Usai. You know? It just... There's a CZ on the table. Bottom right corner is a CZ. JR Zone, I appreciate it, man. That stuff goes to shooting. I take anything I make off the channel, and I recently I donated. My daughter shoots junior marksmanship. It's an NRA competition. We bought a gun for their end of the season shoot with the money I got from the channel. Just a little 22, little Savage 22. But but they always donate one out to the winners of this competition. Well, this year, first place and second place is going to have a firearm. So I appreciate that donation. That's solid of you. TT762. Are you talking Tokarov? I don't know if I have any targets. Some days she shoots really good, some days not. On a good day, you know, she'll put 5 rounds inside of a pencil eraser. On other days, she'll shoot a 2-inch group. Right now, so they work through each shooting position, standing, kneeling, sitting, prone. Right now, as you earn so many marks, and it bumps you up to another position. They progressively get harder. She's in prone right now. What's the pistol with the red accent lower right? That's a Dan Wesson DWX. But if you're interested, I don't think you were here earlier. So she'll be competing this year. This will be her first year shooting USPSA. This is my middle son's 3rd year. But she's going to start, she'll be shooting a Shadow Systems MR920P. Our first match is on Sunday. I can't show the side of her in footage, but I can show behind her and shoot. But if you're interested, like on the channel, there's videos of her and my son both shooting Steel Challenge. A bunch of stuff with my son shooting USPSA. I got some footage in there of my oldest shooting USPSA too. He doesn't come out a lot with us and shoot matches anymore, usually a few a year. I gotta look. I don't know if it does or not. Yes. Yes, that Monet has a bayonet lug. So for the local matches and stuff, no, it's just pride. We shot sectional last year, Wisconsin State sectional match. Neither one of us did well enough to get a prize. But if you start shooting at the sectional matches, the state level matches, there's awards and prize tables. Obviously regionals and nationals there is. But the local matches like this is just for bragging rights. So she's 11. I'm not gonna, I mean, don't let me sell you like she's some master pistol shooter, because she is not. What she is a kid that likes to shoot, and she has fun. And this, like I said, this will be her first year shooting this pistol. Last year she shot a 9mm a few times, but she really likes shooting the Glock 44, the 22 caliber Glock. That's her favorite 22 she shoots. So when I bought her the gun for this year, I needed something that was a Glock 19 size frame, and I wanted something with a comp, and I wanted something with a good textured frame. I didn't have any opinion about what gun or what manufacturer. When I was talking to Vince, the counter jockey at the gun store, him and I were talking. He asked me if I ever looked at the Shadow Systems. I had looked at them, but I never considered owning one. That checked all the boxes, so that's what I bought her. It's got a magwell, it's got a textured frame, it's got decent cock inspirations front and rear, it's got the compensator, and it's optics ready. If a Glock had them features, you know, if Glock would listen to what customers want, I would have bought another Glock, but they didn't. Part of the Shadow System is it takes Glock magazines, and I have probably 100 Glock 17 magazines, so I don't have to buy any magazines. The MR920P is with the compensator. It's about the same overall dimensions as the Glock 17, so I already have a holster for her to use. I didn't have to buy her a new holster, buy a holster for her. I gotta get an optic for it yet, but she'll be shooting this Sunday. Will be her first match. The goal, and her and I have talked about it, the goal isn't for her to do exceptionally well. It's for her to go and compete the whole day and not get disqualified, and meaning you're gonna have to shoot it safely. I don't care if she hits any targets. I don't care any of that. The only thing I care about is she goes and competes and she does it safely. Keeps the gun down range, keeps the finger off the trigger when she's moving or not engaging the target. I don't have a holster for the Black Mamba. So that's the goal. My middle son, he started when he was 12, but he was already able to shoot a PCC, a pistol caliber carbine. So his first year he competed with a 9mm. My daughter, my daughter's weak. I hate to say it, but she's weak. She's a girl. So she can't hold up a pistol caliber carbine yet. I bought a HK clone this last year for her in the fall. No, you're fine. Keep shooting. You're a right-handed shooter. I assume you're a right-handed shooter. And are you talking you're pulling left? And that would be a semi-auto, right? Not a double action revolver. Your right-handed shooter. Yeah, so that's always a trigger pull. So you got two options to help with it. You could get that Mantis training system, or if you have access to like a laser mounted something you could put on your tactical rail on whatever pistol you have, that'll help you start pressing the trigger and you can see when you're moving the gun. Usually low left for a right-handed shooter is you're squeezing your whole hand when you're pulling the trigger. So you're squeezing, and with that grip, if you take your hand right now and just kind of squeeze it together, make like a C and then squeeze, you'll see how in mechanics of your hand, you'll push that gun to the left. So you got to focus and concentrate that you're just moving your trigger finger and you're pulling it straight back and not pushing it back and left. That's the biggest thing. Another thing I would suggest you do if you don't have a 22 semi-automatic, if that's what you shoot, semi-autos, pick one up. 22 is a lot cheaper to shoot and it gives you the exact same feedback. You know, like I said, I mentioned that Glock 44, that's a 22 long rifle. I picked that up for my middle son to start getting used to a polymer handgun. But a laser, just a weapon mounted laser, you can go on Amazon or something and pick them up pretty cheap. And that'll help work it through. Yeah, a lot of people do that. For me personally, I don't like that grip. I don't know. If it works for you, do it, but I like to have a better grip on a handgun. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If it works for you, that's the trick. But the two things I would recommend, one would be either buy a 22 long rifle semi-automatic pistol, and or two, the absolute cheapest thing would be go on like Amazon or something and just buy a weapons mounted cheap laser, because that you can sit in your house and do dry fire on. Take a target, put it up on the wall. You know, I don't know how big your house is, but like in me, I have one on my living room wall, I have one on my dining room wall. Wall to wall is about 12 yards, 13 yards, and we'll practice it. That's part of the dry fire. We'll practice, you know, coming up and stuff. You could even go one cheaper, but it's hard on the gun, as you can buy the laser bore sighters that go inside of a chamber and you can practice that way, but you end up beating your striker on the back of that bore sighter. So to be considered an expert at something, you have to do something 3,000 times exactly the same, exactly right. That makes you an expert. To do that exactly the same each and every time is tough. 5,000 rounds, you're just getting comfortable. You're not even broken yet. I think if you took a class, you know, most classes are 500 to 1,000 rounds, depending on the class. They would help you, but I think you would get more out of just a laser at home than taking a class. Put that weapon mounted laser on it. You're going to spend $50, $60 on that, and you're going to learn how to dry fire that gun and then take that to the range with you. But just learning how to grip that gun and how to squeeze that trigger, how to make sure you're pulling it straight back, you're going to see it right away on the wall. Yeah, lasers work well. That's one thing where I'm going to say it's a cheap fix. And like the Mantis systems or some of these other systems they have, they're nice, but you're just spending more money. You know, you can do it with a cheap laser at home and it'll work just the same. But do a lot of dry fire practice. My understanding from what I've always been told, dry fire should account for about 70% of your training. But if you're doing the dry fire wrong, if you don't have good trigger presses, you're gonna have a hard time. It's not gonna gain anything. What kind of gun are you using primarily? I mean, I see your pythons, right? But what kind of pistols are you shooting? Yeah, my dogs love lasers, dude. Here, I'll show you something. I have an M6 laser sitting next to me. You can see the dog on the floor. Just watch. He heard it turn on. Watch how fast he jumps. And he'll be on it now for an hour. You'll hear the little click and boom, he's up. The most expensive dog toy I have is that Streamlight M6 flashlight laser combo. I've had it for years, and 99% of the use I've ever done with it has just been a dog toy. But we do mount it. We do mount it under the Glocks and stuff, and use it for, like I was saying, just a laser. Yeah, so that Shield Plus. The Shield Plus has a laser on it, right? Yeah, I said that, the laser bore sighters. Thing with them though, John, is because the striker hits the back of them, it does start being hard on the strikers or firing pins, where the weapon mounted one, like on the tack rail, it doesn't really harm anything. But the laser bore sighter ones, they're cheap. They're like $10. You can buy them on eBay or Amazon. Georgian, what's up, guy? How are you doing? Yep, they make them for 22 all the way up. We actually, when we sight in our guns, John, we'll go sight in our guns on Saturday for our match, and we'll go across the house, and we'll mark it on the target on the far wall here with a laser bore sighter, so we know if our zero shifts. We'll check that then after everything's zeroed. And if there's a shift in them, then we can go re-zero them, but I should show that. But on the target, I got like 5 different little pieces of tape, and they're all for different guns and where they're zeroed, where that laser bore sighter is, to have the optic dead center, because they're not always like, your laser for your bore sighter isn't always true zero, but we put the laser on the spot on the wall that's marked on their target, and then we zero the dot to where it's supposed to be, and that works out. All right, Orange Smoke, we'll be off here in a little bit. John, did you go to your videos? Did you find that number? My dog will be going stupid now for the next 3 hours. Yeah, that's that northern Minnesota life. You're not missing anything. Snow sucks. Only thing I'll say about snow is in Wisconsin, right? It gets cold. And if you walk outside and there's snow on the ground, it at least brightens it up versus being all dead grass and dormant trees and dead weeds all over. At least the snow brightens it up, makes it feel not so dreary. But snow sucks. If you're a skier or something, it's cool. I'm not a skier. I used to snowblow years ago, and I prefer not to get cold. Check your Mac 11 video. You'll find it there. Are you? Have you played with that Acro yet? Do you like it? I've not met anybody in person that actually has the Acro yet, so I'm curious. I think any of them weapon-mounted optics, they look big, so I'll be curious to see when I put one on the DWX how it feels. I know I look at people's carry gun and they have the weapon-mounted flashlight and then they put a big old optic on it. I think that defeats the whole purpose of trying to carry a concealed weapon. Probably the best window is small, but it's whatever. So Briar, we're not supposed to talk about gun prices on YouTube. But what I'll say is if you wanted to go to McDonald's and you went to the dollar menu and you were buying hamburgers for $1, right? You would be able to buy 1,800 hamburgers for that. John, I don't carry lights or flashlights on my guns either, so whatever that's worth. Yeah. I mean, I understand there's times and places to have lights on a firearm, right? 104? No? You have a pen and paper yet, John? So if you lived in the country or a rural environment, I understand the need to have a firearm with a flashlight on it. I live in the city. Oh, you got it. All right. Did you erase it? You know, I live in the city, and unless there's a power outage, there's very few places that at night, I'm not clearing houses, I'm not kicking in doors, that I would have the need for a weapons mounted flashlight. I get it, some people, law enforcement, they are, but you gotta remember, if you're pulling your firearm and you're using it for POD, positive target, or positive identification, right? You're brandishing a firearm. You're pointing a firearm to identify a threat or a target, and that's no good, So other people have different needs and stuff. For me, I have no reason or no need to have a weapons mounted flashlight. Like on my grab and go AR, yeah, there's a weapons mounted light on that. If I got to grab and go that gun, I'm not worried about brandishing a firearm. So different scenarios. As far as like dots and stuff on guns, maybe I'm a FUD that way. I've played with enough of them that the shake to wakes, them batteries are always dying. You're definitely not going to wait until somebody hang on so you can turn on your dot. So K Miller, what are my thoughts on the dagger? So my son set up the table today, and that's actually his dagger. I bought the gun for him for his birthday a couple years ago, and this is what I can say. My experience with that gun, my experience with that gun is I would not buy another one. That gun's chamber is out of spec, and it bulges the brass to the point where you're almost getting bulged brass. It almost like a rupture, so it's not in spec. I tried to contact Palmetto State Armory at least a dozen times through email, a voicemail. My wife and kid both tried to contact them. They will not return messages. They will not return phone calls. So I've had that gun sitting here that's not safe to shoot. It's a hazard, and the company won't return any messaging to send the gun back for warranty. My opinion is I would absolutely not buy one. I would absolutely not deal with PSA. But that's just my opinion. Had they not been shitty, I would have absolutely recommended the gun. Even if the barrel were out of spec and they returned a phone call and just repaired it, I wouldn't have anything bad to say. But because they haven't done so, I can't say anything good about it. I think if somebody were looking at buying a Palmetto dagger, they would probably be better off buying a Ruger RXM. Almost identical pricing, but Ruger stands behind their products. If you have a bad barrel or a bad quality control or something, they make it right, man. It's a good company. So I don't want to completely shit on PSA because I like what the company stands for. I like the fact that they're trying to get affordable products out to the masses, but you can't do it at the price of just shitting on your customers. You know, things happen sometimes. Not everything goes out the door right, but you just can't shit on any customers. Not one, not 100, not 1,000. You know, a company's whole identity is based on how they treat their customers. Do they give them a quality product? Do they stand behind their products? And how do they handle it when things go wrong? I answered that already, Breyer. I told you if you went to the dollar menu at McDonald's and bought dollar hamburgers, you would buy $1,800 hamburgers. They're worth every penny they cost. It's a very expensive 22 pistol, but there's nothing better out there than it. If you want to get into an Olympic style handgun, there might be. Yeah, man. Sorry, but yeah, that answers the question. Orange Smoke was in here a little while ago. He has one too, and a few other people I know have them. It's a great gun. The trigger is right on them. They're dead nuts accurate. It was actually zeroed from the factory, so we went out shooting it expecting to have to adjust the zero somewhat. Yeah, it's the dog. Drink, drink, drink. But the gun was actually true zeroed from the start. So I can't say enough good things about Volkorstren. I've never heard of them having a bad product that they've shipped. I've never heard about anybody having to ship a gun back. You know, like everything, they say there's a break-in. The gun worked from the start. I've never had a malfunction in it. I am still on alive. The Cerakote was done by them, and the Cerakote's I'm not gonna say perfect, but you're not gonna find any faults in it.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Harley.
I got some shoes.
You got some shoes?
I got these and I got some other ones.
What's the name of that shooting game you have? That VR game?
Shooting Club VR, I think. Oh, I have a couple of them. I can look at their names while
I was just curious. You coming back down?
Yeah.
Huge, I have to use the back. So don't feed me.
There's better food than syrup. So guys, my wife, my kids, and everybody's home. Yeah, but did they take care of it? Did they give you a bunch of shit, or did they just say send it in and fix it? I mean, it's shitty that it got through quality control like that, but I mean, if they took care of it, right? So I'll do like a 5-minute countdown here. They're all home, and I definitely want to talk to my daughter and son some. And now the dogs are gonna be running all over and doing weird shit, knocking guns off my table.
Gun Club VR, and then the other one's Blood and Truth that I have.
Been waiting on it over a month. That's fucked up. So, in all my experience, I've had to send one Glock back, and the frame rail broke off in it. It was a model number. It was a Glock 40 cal, Glock 22, and they knew there was a certain serial number range that they were having issues with. My friend bought one. They're fucking full of mud, dude. Come on, get them out there and get their mud out.
Go there. Come on, Four.
Um,
Come on.
My friend bought one a month or two before me. His broke before mine. I sent it back. I contacted Glock. They asked for the serial number range. I sent them the gun, and within the week, because they sent me a call tag, within the week I had a new frame. They didn't fix the gun I had. They just sent me a whole new frame with my slide on it. So the gun ended up having 2 serial numbers. But they sent it right to my house. Yeah. Mine are somewhat lazy. Guys, if you haven't, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, it should be quick and easy. It shouldn't even be an issue. They got the gun. They looked at it. Yep, we fucked up. They shouldn't even mess around and getting it. It should be a brand new slide put on that thing. Not even messing around. Some people might want the same slide if the serial numbers match or whatever, but like I said, to me, when Glock sent me the new frame, it kind of it didn't match, and it wasn't the gun that I purchased, but the slide and the barrel numbers matched, and then the frame was different. No, Sig would tell you it's your fault, and you did something wrong. It wasn't their fault at all. Sorry. Come on, guys. So I think with that, gentlemen, I appreciate you hanging out and interacting. If you haven't, subscribe. If you haven't, double tap that screen. There you go. I suppose they probably didn't respond, huh? I'll wait for you here. Yeah, Pure Alaskan, I appreciate it too. You guys have a good night. John Wicks, as always, it was a great time. Many of you other guys that are still here. What? Georgian, I want to talk with you more about that, but I got to go right now. So I'll catch you probably tomorrow. I'm going to do another live. I'm still trying to push through these last few hours I need for that full monetization. So provided I don't get a strike from today's live, I'll be live tomorrow afternoon. So I hope to catch you then. And we can talk about that shadow system because I'm curious what happened, what's wrong with it. So, all right, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Gentlemen, ladies, things, thank you very much. Right on, John. I'm off this week, so I'll be able to call. If I don't answer, it's because I don't know the number. Leave a voicemail, then I'll call you right back. Them whole scammer thoughts. So, gentlemen, ladies, things, I appreciate your time, and you have a good night. Be safe.